Chapter 4268. Come on. Aren't you very strong? Aren't you the number one person in the sky cloud realm? Why are you only getting beaten up? Aren't you losing face for the sky cloud realm? Dong Hanzong went crazy. In less than a moment, Qin Feiyang's body was dripping with blood. Son of a bitch, you're too arrogant. The white-eyed wolf was furious. Don't move. Old Qin will have a way. Madman secretly said. When the white-eyed wolf heard this, he suppressed his anger and roared, Little Qin Z, make him shut up. Make me shut up? Then you ask him first, do you have the ability to break the seal? Dong Hanzong sneered. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he took a step back. Want to leave? Dong Hanzong immediately activated Moment of Time, but in the blink of an eye, he was behind Qin Feiyang and slapped his palm at Qin Feiyang's back. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out. Qin Feiyang's whole body suddenly smashed into the ground below like a meteorite. Billowing dust and smoke shrouded all directions, and his back was badly mutilated with blood gushing out. Now I'll send you to hell. Dong Hanzong smiled sinisterly. Boom! The 7 ultimate mysteries instantly appeared, carrying the power to destroy the world, shattering the void and the earth as it blasted forward. Then I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Qin Feiyang's voice sounded in the dust. The next moment, accompanied by a dragon's roar, a purple-gold dragon's soul appeared out of thin air. Eye of Heaven, open. Around Qin Feiyang, the outline of a domain gradually emerged. But the speed was very slow. It was similar to copying the ultimate mysteries. Qin Feiyang frowned, and a time array appeared under his feet. This was the advantage of mastering the law of time, being able to set up a time array at any time. As soon as the time array appeared, the law of time in the place where Qin Feiyang was located suddenly became different. Almost in the next moment, the domain around his body completely solidified. It was the sealed God domain. Numerous sealing runes flashed with dazzling divine light. What? The Eye of Heaven can actually replicate the God seal domain? Dong Xian was stunned. Dong Hanzong's eyes trembled. It could even replicate the God seal domain. The Eye of Heaven was indeed worthy of being one of the 10 strongest battle souls. Seal. Qin Feiyang raised his arm and pointed a finger at the sky. A formless sealing force surged toward Dong Hanzong. Dong Hanzong's God force, physical strength, and law energy were sealed on the spot. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang took a step forward, dodging the 7 ultimate profoundness and arriving in front of Dong Hanzong in a single step, punching out. Both of them had their power, God power, and magical laws sealed. Therefore, their strength was relatively low. Rumble. Bang. Bang. A hand-to-hand battle began. Even though their strength had been sealed, their fists were still as hard as steel, and ear-piercing metallic sounds could be heard when they collided. So what if you can replicate the apotheosis domain? I still have the undying domain and the invincible domain. I am invincible. Relying on the undying domain and the invincible domain, Dong Hanzong risked his life against Qin Feiyang at all costs. It could be said that he had sacrificed 800 to kill 1,000 enemies. Is that so? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. That's right. Dong Hanzong grinned. But before his voice died away, the smile on his face froze. A time array appeared under Qin Feiyang's feet again, and 2 domains appeared around him. It was the God-slaying domain and the undying domain. It can replicate both? Dong Tianqian and Dong Ping's expressions froze. The Eye of Heaven was simply a scoundrel. No matter how strong one's technique was, it could replicate it. Most importantly, generally speaking, replicas were definitely inferior to the original. However, the replicas produced by the Eye of Heaven were not inferior to the original at all. What's the point of doing this? Seeing all of his techniques being copied by Qin Feiyang, Dong Hanzong roared in anger out of humiliation. This is my technique. It's also my ability. If you have the ability, why don't you replicate it for me to see? Qin Feiyang smiled playfully and landed in front of Dong Hanzong with a big stride, punching towards Dong Hanzong's lower abdomen. But it was useless. The invincible stance and the undying body were simply unbreakable. But now, Dong Hanzong was unable to hurt Qin Feiyang. Because Qin Feiyang had also activated the undying body and the invincible stance. Moreover, because of the sealing power, no matter how strong their combat strength became, they were unable to unleash it. The battle was in a stalemate. Neither of them could do anything to each other. However, in contrast, Dong Hanzong was even more anxious. Because the domain had a time limit. When the time was up, his Qinkuan domain would collapse, which was equivalent to losing his strongest trump card. But Qin Feiyang was different. The domain was just something that he had replicated. Losing it would not cause him any loss. At that time, the ultimate profound of the law of life and death, the dual will of the heavenly Tao, Dong Hanzong did not have a domain, so he could not block it at all. Therefore, Qin Feiyang was not afraid of dragging it out. Time passed bit by bit. Seeing that half an hour had passed, Dong Hanzong said in a deep voice, "Close the sealed god domain and fight fair and square." Sure. Qin Feiyang nodded his head. Fighting like this was indeed a bit stifling. Because he clearly had a set of heaven-defying methods, but he was unable to unleash them. It felt as if his hands were tied. The two of them retracted the sealing power at the same time. Boom! In the next moment, the terrifying power of law roared out. Now is the time, inverse the universe. Dong Hanzong laughed sinisterly. Qin Feiyang's 7 ultimate mysteries immediately turned in the air and charged towards Qin Feiyang. So that's your plan. Qin Feiyang nodded his head in realization. This inverse the universe was indeed very powerful. It could almost be said to be an invincible existence. Because you had no way to break it. Just like Boss G and the others, they were all very strong. But so what if they were strong? Facing inverse the universe, all of your profound laws would be controlled by the other party. Even when facing Dong Hanzong, you wouldn't dare to activate your profound laws. Without the eye of heaven, Qin Feiyang wouldn't be able to do anything. However, in this world, there were no ifs. When the time array was activated, the eye of heaven once again showed its power and instantly replicated the universe domain. Inverse the universe. As Qin Feiyang spoke, the ultimate mysteries that were charging towards Dong Hanzong immediately turned in the air and charged towards him. Even my universe domain can be replicated? Dong Hanzong's expression froze. What the hell is this? Everything can be replicated, how can one fight? This is too shameless. With this eye of heaven, no matter who he is facing, Qin Feiyang will definitely be in an invincible position. I have never seen such a shameless way of fighting. Dong Ping muttered. Yeah. You still want to kill him. We are simply looking for a beating. Dong Xian's heart was bitter. Last time, she fought with the white-eyed wolf. Dong Ping also fought with Lunatic. Although Dong Tianxian had fought with Qin Feiyang before, it was only an avatar. So, for the three of them, this was the first time they saw Qin Feiyang personally take action. This was also the first time, but it was already an eye-opener for them. It turned out that this was Qin Feiyang's strength. It was indeed heaven-defying. Did you see that? So what if he is an unparalleled genius of the Central Dynasty? He is still suppressed by Qin Feiyang. In the west, on a mountain peak, the monarch said with a proud smile. Next to him, the divine king, the sovereign of the human race, couldn't help but roll his eyes when he heard this. Cough, cough. Father. Keep a low profile, keep a low profile. Heavenly Lord Ji was also there, and he said somewhat awkwardly. He felt that his father now was like a parent who compared children with others. With such an outstanding descendant, why keep a low profile? Don't you feel gratified? The king glared at him. Gratified, gratified. Heavenly Lord Ji nodded repeatedly with a helpless expression. Don't flatter yourself. What does it have to do with you? The divine king looked at him with disdain. Just be envious. Of course, you can only be envious now. The king didn't take the divine king's mockery to heart at all, and his face was full of pride. The divine king's face darkened. To be honest, he was a little envious. But there was no need to be so smug, right? Divine king, please understand him. After all, there is nothing else in his life that can make him proud. The sovereign of the human race laughed. That's true. The divine king nodded. Sovereign, what do you mean by that? How many things can make me proud in my life? Heavenly Lord and Tianhua, which one of them doesn't make me proud? The king said angrily. Father, what are you talking about? My achievements are not worth mentioning at all. Hearing his father praising him in front of the divine king and the sovereign of the human race, Heavenly Lord Ji was still a little uncomfortable. I'm telling the truth. The king smiled proudly. Yes, the siblings are indeed outstanding. But what about that grandson of yours? Compared to your grandson, Qin Badian, he seems a little. The divine king looked at the king with ridicule in his eyes. The king's expression stiffened as he glared at Heavenly Lord Ji and snorted coldly. I can only say that someone didn't teach his son well. Hearing this, Heavenly Lord Ji felt very wronged. Who did I offend? Why did I scold him for no reason? Didn't you teach your son well? Why don't you say gene mutation? Besides, compared to his peers, his son was not bad, but compared to people like Qin Feiyang, he was much worse. But the key point was, in this world, how many people could be compared to people like Qin Feiyang, Frenzy, Golden Wing Wolf King, and Dong Hanzong? On the battlefield. The battle became more and more intense. Terrifying fluctuations swept out in all directions like raging waves in the ocean. This time, Qin Feiyang was in the most difficult battle. Although his 7 ultimate intents were stronger than Dong Hanzong's 7 ultimate intents, he couldn't do anything to Dong Hanzong because of the stellar transposition, immortal body, and invincible state. Could it be that he could only defeat Dong Hanzong by dragging on for an hour? All of you, back off. All of a sudden. He looked at Frenzy and the others and roared. 3,000 clones charged over, and various ultimate intents appeared. In the blink of an eye, the sky above was filled with ultimate intents, densely packed and mighty. It's useless. Reverse the universe. Dong Hanzong sneered. A total of 21,000 ultimate intents were all controlled by Dong Hanzong in an instant and charged toward Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 clones. He can control so many ultimate intents. Is there no limit to the universe domain? Qin Feiyang couldn't calm down. It seemed that he could only drag on for an hour to end this battle. Chapter 4269. Dong Tianxian looked at Qin Feiyang and shouted, "Hurry up and activate Inverse the Universe. If this drags on, let's see who's the one who's anxious." Qin Feiyang glanced at Dong Tianxian. At the moment, he really couldn't find a way to break Inverse the Universe. He could only drag on. As Inverse the Universe was activated, the 21,000 ultimate meanings that were charging at Dong Hanzong immediately spun in the air and charged at him again. Don't even think about it. Dong Hanzong roared and activated Inverse the Universe again, fighting with Qin Feiyang for the control of the 21,000 ultimates. Wait. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang narrowed his eyes and stared at Dong Hanzong. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to break Inverse the Universe. But he was different. He had 3,000 incarnations. All 3,000 incarnations could activate the Eye of Heaven and copy Dong Hanzong's domains. For example, now. If the 3,000 incarnations joined forces with him to fight for the control of the 21,000 ultimates, they would definitely win. This was because this was the suppression of numbers. There's no need to wait. Qin Feiyang smirked and turned to look at the 3,000 incarnations. You all understand what I mean, right? Yes. The 3,000 incarnations nodded. What's going on? Looking at this scene, Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian couldn't help but feel confused. Roar. The next moment, accompanied by a series of deafening dragon roars, a purple-gold dragon's soul appeared above the heads of the 3,000 clones. The Eye of Heaven was activated at the same time. What? These incarnations can activate the Eye of Heaven? Dong Tianqian and the other three were stunned. This was beyond their imagination. Qin Feiyang was already so powerful when he activated the Eye of Heaven. Now that the 3,000 incarnations had activated the Eye of Heaven as well, how powerful would that be? As the Eye of Heaven moved, the 3,000 incarnations formed their Qian Kuan domains. What kind of joke is this? Are these 3,000 incarnations humans or ghosts? Dong Hanzong was in disbelief. Now, watch how I break your Qian Kuan domain. Qin Feiyang stared at Dong Hanzong and smiled coldly. Inverse universe. The 3,000 clones immediately roared, and invisible forces surged out and surged toward the 21,000 ultimate meanings. This was a battle of wills. Whoever had the strongest will would be able to seize the right to control all 21,000 ultimate profound meanings. However, Dong Hanzong was facing Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 incarnations alone. Was there any suspense? One had to know. Each of the 3,000 incarnations was Qin Feiyang's true body. In other words, now Dong Hanzong had to face 3001 Qin Feiyang by himself. In just an instant, Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 incarnations seized control of 21,000 ultimate intents. Then, they controlled these ultimate intents and attacked Dong Hanzong crazily. No, I will not lose to you. Dong Hanzong roared, gritting his teeth. Boom! Then, the 21,000 ultimate intents arrived. The Undying Rune and the God Sealing Rune that had fused with Dong Hanzong collapsed on the spot. In other words, the 21,000 ultimate intents had already broken the limits of the Undying Rune and the God Sealing Rune. Of course. This was not beyond Qin Feiyang's expectations. This was because the 21,000 ultimate intents were originally his. Not only did he have 3,000 ultimate intents of the law of life and death, but he also had 2 wills of heaven path. One could imagine how powerful he was. He is so powerful. If it was him in Qingtian City, I'm afraid we wouldn't even have a chance to resist. Dong Xian murmured. Yes. Dong Ping nodded. This person's strength had already exceeded their imagination. No. No matter how strong he is, he can't break the invincible stance. Because the invincible stance is absolutely invincible. Dong Tianqian clenched his fists tightly. Although Qin Feiyang's opponent was Dong Hanzong, he was more nervous than Dong Hanzong at this moment. Because, if Dong Hanzong couldn't block this wave, it proved that there was a limit to the invincible stance. At the same time, it also meant that he wasn't Qin Feiyang's opponent. Dong Ping was stunned for a moment before he slapped his head and said, yes, when you fought with Lu Yuntian previously, Lu Yuntian also mastered the law of life and death, 6 ultimate intents and 2 ultimate intents, but he still couldn't break the invincible stance. Qin Feiyang definitely can't do it now. Qin Feiyang is different from Lu Yuntian. Because Qin Feiyang has the Eye of Heaven. Didn't Lu Yuntian and Qin Feiyang have a battle before? Because Qin Feiyang has the Eye of Heaven, Lu Yuntian lost miserably to him. Dong Tianqian shook his head. Eye of Heaven, Dong Ping looked at Qin Feiyang again. One Eye of Heaven was enough to reverse the situation. It was really terrifying. Under Dong Tianqian's nervous gaze, Dong Hanzong, who was drowned by the 21,000 ultimate intents, didn't show any injuries. The invincible stance is indeed invincible. Dong Tianxian couldn't help laughing in his heart. Even Qin Feiyang couldn't break the invincible stance of the god-slaying domain. Dong Hanzong also raised his head and laughed, looking at Qin Feiyang with contempt. Kill me if you can. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. The lunatic, the white-eyed wolf, couldn't help but frown. Although the invincible stance of the god-slaying domain couldn't increase one's battle strength like the undying domain, in terms of defense, it was really heaven-defying. 21,000 ultimate intense, this kind of terrifying destructive power could even destroy a world like the Black Tortoise world. But now, it couldn't even shake Dong Hanzong's invincible body. Huff. Qin Feiyang couldn't calm his heart. Taking a deep breath, he looked at Dong Hanzong and said, "There's still half an hour before your domain's time is up. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for." Dong Hanzong's body stiffened, and his laughter stopped abruptly. That's right. Although the invincible stance gave him absolute invincibility, there was a time limit. When the time was up, how could he fight Qin Feiyang? Suddenly, he scanned the surrounding living beings who were watching the battle and suddenly roared, "Monarch, Deity King, where are the supreme beings of the human race? Immediately bring people to help me eliminate this thief." Qin Feiyang frowned. The lunatic, the white-eyed wolf also couldn't help but look around. Although they didn't see the Lord and the others, the battle had been going on for so long. They must have heard the news and rushed over. At the mountain peak, the Lord and the others looked at each other. Heavenly Lord Ji asked, "What should we do?" "Do as you see fit." The Divine King sneered. Heavenly Lord Ji smiled bitterly. The Divine King was obviously not going to make a move. "We can't not make a move. If the commotion is small, we can still say that we didn't know he was fighting Qin Feiyang when the people of the Central Dynasty ask. But now that the commotion is so big, if we still say that we didn't know, it won't make sense." The human supremes frowned. "I also agree with the supremes." Heavenly Lord Ji nodded. Dong Hanzong died in the 4 continents, and the people of the Central Dynasty would definitely come to investigate. If they didn't make a move now, how would they deal with the people of the Central Dynasty? The people of the Central Dynasty weren't fools. Normal excuses wouldn't fool them. The Divine King frowned and said angrily, "This is so troublesome. I really want to declare war on the Central Dynasty now so that I don't have to spend so much effort to cover it up." The Lord and the human supremes looked at each other. They also had the same idea. But Qin Feiyang was right. They didn't have the strength to fight against the Central Dynasty at all, so they had to bear with it. "Then let's do it. It's okay to pretend." The Lord took a deep breath and said to the Divine King, "Okay." The Divine King nodded, his face full of reluctance. Dong Hanzong didn't see the Lord and the others for a long time. He shouted angrily, "You must be here. Come out." Whoosh! Along with the sound of something breaking through the air, the monarch and the other 3 people ran over, their foreheads beaded with sweat. Seeing the 4 of them like this, the mad scientist and the white-eyed wolf couldn't help but twitch their lips. This show was too realistic. They were indeed movie stars. Dong Hanzong was overjoyed when he saw the 4 of them. He shouted, "Now is a good chance. Gather the people of the 3 races and encircle them." "Okay." The 4 nodded. "Do you think we'll give them this chance?" The white-eyed wolf looked at Dong Hanzong sarcastically and then pretended to attack the Lord and the others with the mad scientist. "You want to stop the Lord and the others with just the 2 of you? This is simply wishful thinking," Dong Hanzong said in disdain. The mad scientist and the white-eyed wolf were also very strong, but the Lord had 3,000 incarnations, and the Divine King and the human supremes also had the mark of the gods and the sword of faith. These were all incredible means. What if we join them? But before he finished, another voice rang out. Dong Hanzong frowned and turned to look at Dong Tianqian. Dong Tianqian smiled coldly and looked at the Lord and the others. He shouted, "I order you all to stand there and don't move." What? The four of them looked at Dong Tianqian in shock. That's right. No one is allowed to interfere in this battle. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless. Dong Ping and Dong Xian also stood out and stared at the Lord and the others with murderous intent. The four of them looked at each other. The mad scientist and the white-eyed wolf also stopped and looked at Dong Tianqian and the others with a strange expression. The others were even more speechless. What the hell was going on? Previously, Dong Tianqian and the others joined forces to kill Dong Hanzong. Now, the three of them stopped the Lord and the others from helping Dong Hanzong? Wasn't this an internal conflict? What are you doing? In the past few days, I was indeed in the wrong for the things I did to you all. However, you don't have to only care about your own selfishness. Qin Feiyang and the others must be eliminated. Otherwise, when Lord Emperor investigates this matter, who will bear this responsibility? Dong Hanzong came back to his senses and glared at Dong Tianqian and the others. Don't say such pompous words. Today, even if the gods descended, they can't save you. As for the Lord Emperor's investigation, we will bear the responsibility. Dong Tianqian sneered. You, Dong Hanzong was furious. Don't blame us for being merciless. You provoked us first. Dong Xian smiled coldly. She then looked at the monarch and the other three and said with a murderous aura, Dong Hanzong is inferior to us in the central dynasty. If you don't want to die, then stay here quietly. Yes. The four of them quickly nodded and looked panicked. But in their hearts, they were overjoyed. They were still worried about finding an excuse. Chapter 4270. Dong Tianqian and the other two's forceful interference caused Dong Hanzong to panic. If the king and the rest were willing to help, victory would be in their hands. Because the strength of the three races couldn't be underestimated. Especially Boss Ji and the others, each of them had 3,000 incarnations. The God race experts also had the God race's mark. But now, because of Dong Tianqian and the other two's obstruction, the king and the rest couldn't help. Dong Hanzong was fighting alone. He was almost driven crazy by Qin Feiyang's Eye of Heaven. He thought of all kinds of methods, but he couldn't break the suppression of the Eye of Heaven. It was as if a huge mountain was pressing down on his head, suffocating him. The time until the universe domain disappeared was getting shorter and shorter. Dong Hanzong no longer had the desire to continue fighting. He looked around, looking for a way to escape. Trying to escape. Do you think I'll let you do as you wish? Dong Tianqian sneered and took a step forward, blocking the south side of the battlefield. You have nowhere to run. Dong Ping and Dong Xian looked at each other, killing intent flashing in their eyes. They also blocked the west and north sides of the battlefield. The white-eyed wolf and Feng Zi were naturally wary of Dong Hanzong's escape. Dong Hanzong stared at Dong Tianqian and the other two, his eyes filled with anger. This is the price for plotting against us. Dong Tianqian sneered, his face detestable. Although he wasn't a good person, and his hands were stained with blood, he had never wanted to kill someone as much as he did now. And it was his former comrade. You won't have the chance to escape. Instead of wasting time, why don't you go all out and fight me to the death? As long as you can defeat me, they can't stop you from leaving. Qin Feiyang smiled indifferently. 7 ultimate profound meanings appeared out of nowhere. Why? Why are you helping them? Aren't I stronger than these good-for-nothings? Dong Hanzong roared, gritting his teeth. All kinds of ultimate profundities roared as they rushed towards Qin Feiyang. Boom! Qin Feiyang's 7 ultimate profundities contained 1 law of life and death, as well as 2 wills of the heavenly way. However, Dong Tianqian's 7 ultimate profundities were all ultimate laws, and there was only 1 wills of the heavenly way. Was there any suspense? It was a completely one-sided situation. Boom! The kingdom of life and death was incomparably tyrannical, crushing everything in its path as it blasted towards Dong Hanzong. However, the invincible stance was still as powerful as ever. It was impossible to shake Dong Hanzong. Rumble. The two of them continued to collide. Destructive shockwaves from the battle spread out in all directions. Many people had already retreated. This was because the fluctuations of the battle had far exceeded the scope of what they could withstand. The monarch murmured, "Let's not talk about who's stronger and who's weaker. Let's just talk about their methods. Indeed, no one can compare to them. Yes. If it were us, not to mention Qin Feiyang, even Dong Hanzong would be able to kill us." The divine king nodded. Although Dong Hanzong's character was not good, no one dared to deny his powerful strength. He could be called the number one person in the divine kingdom. Time passed quietly. The remaining half an hour had finally passed. During this period, Dong Hanzong thought of all kinds of ways to escape the battlefield, but he couldn't find an opportunity. The despair in his heart grew even stronger. It was also the first time he had experienced the taste of despair. Because once, he was the one who made others despair. Once the time was up, Dong Hanzong's universe domain immediately disappeared. Now, what else can you use to fight with old Qin? Lunatic couldn't help but laugh. Without the universe domain as a trump card, not to mention Qin Feiyang, even he and the white-eyed wolf could easily get rid of Dong Hanzong. Dong Hanzong looked at Lunatic and then at the white-eyed wolf and Dong Tianqian. At this moment, there was a trace of a smile on everyone's face. It was as if they were mocking him. This feeling almost made him collapse. Come on. Victory or defeat depends on this. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. To be honest, he was also extremely aggrieved in this battle. He tried all kinds of methods but still couldn't break Dong Hanzong's invincible posture. Was there really no limit to this invincible posture? However, it was a battle, as long as he could win. Bang! Accompanied by a terrifying aura, the 3,000 incarnations waved their hands and the kingdom of life and death instantly appeared in the sky. 3,000 kingdom of life and death, and there were two ultimate profound meanings. What kind of scene was this? Dong Hanzong looked at this scene and clenched his hands together tightly, his body couldn't help but tremble. This was caused by fear. Without the universe domain, he was no longer able to face these 3,000 ultimate profound meanings. However, at this moment, the void behind Dong Xian suddenly erupted with a terrifying aura. Before everyone came back to their senses, a woman suddenly appeared behind Dong Xian. The power of law surged out and a palm slammed towards Dong Xian. Accompanied by a scream, Dong Xian's physical body shattered on the spot and blood splattered in the sky. Dong Qin. Dong Hanzong turned his head and was immediately overjoyed. However, Qin Feiyang, Lunatic, White-Eyed Wolf, Dong Tianqian, and Dong Ping were all furious. Dong Qin, what are you doing? Dong Xian was also furious, and her divine soul quickly fled. However, Dong Qin stretched out her arm like lightning and grabbed Dong Xian's soul. Dong Xian, don't blame me. Dong Qin said with a painful expression. She looked at Dong Hanzong and said, Brother Zong, run. Dong Hanzong came back to his senses and immediately activated momentary time to rush towards Dong Qin. Don't even think about it. Dong Tianqian and Dong Ping roared. They went forward to intercept her. Dong Qin shouted, don't move, or I'll kill Dong Xian. When the two heard this, their faces suddenly sank and they came to a sudden stop. Dong Qin. You have to think carefully. You're only a direct descendant, and Dong Xian is a direct descendant. If you do this, not only will you bring disaster to yourself, but also your family. Is it worth it for a villain like Dong Hanzong? Dong Tianqian roared. Whether it's worth it or not, I know it in my heart. Don't move, or I'll really kill you. Dong Qin looked at the two vigilantly and waved her hand to open a space-time passage. She said in a deep voice, "Brother Zong, you go first, I'll hold them back." Dong Hanzong looked at Dong Tianchen and Dong Ping, then looked at Qin Feiyang. A cold smile flashed in his eyes and he rushed into the space-time passage without looking back. Did you see that? You let him go first, and he ran away without saying a word. If he really likes you, will he let you stay behind and take the risk? Dong Tianchen roared. This woman, why is she so brainless? Dong Hanzong has been using her all along. However, Dong Qin turned a deaf ear and kept looking at Dong Tianchen, Dong Ping, and Qin Feiyang with vigilance. Hee, suddenly. Madman laughed. Dong Qin immediately stared at Madman. Do you think we really care about Dong Xian's life? Madman revealed a mouthful of white teeth, but his eyes flashed with a shocking cold light. Dong Qin panicked. Dong Xian's soul also couldn't help but panic. That's right. Qin Feiyang and the other two were enemies with their divine kingdom. Why would they be afraid of Dong Xian? Senior brother, saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda. But at this time, Qin Feiyang suddenly waved his hand and smiled. Madman looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the 3,000 life and death kingdom disappeared, along with the 3,000 incarnations. He looked at Dong Qin and said, "Let go of Dong Xian, I will let you go." What? Dong Tianchen and Dong Ping looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. For Dong Xian, this person was really afraid of shooting the rat for fear of breaking the vases? My patience has its limits. Don't think about using Dong Xian to threaten us. If you know what's good for you, let go of her immediately, otherwise you will never have the chance to leave Thousand Phoenix Mountain. Qin Feiyang stared at Dong Qin, a cold light flashing in his eyes. At this moment, Dong Qin found that she didn't dare to look at Qin Feiyang's eyes. With a wave of her hand, she opened another space-time tunnel and slowly retreated into it. Just as she was teleported away, she let go of Dong Xian's soul. Dong Tianchen and Dong Ping immediately rushed up. One person protected Dong Xian's soul while the other attacked the space-time tunnel. Boom! With a loud bang, the tunnel collapsed on the spot, but Dong Qin's figure had already disappeared. Little Qin Zi, what are you doing? Lunatic and White-Eyed Wolf ran over and stared at Qin Feiyang with dissatisfaction. They want to escape. How can it be so easy? Qin Feiyang sneered and looked at the two of them. Don't worry, I have asked Mu Qin to open her all-seeing eye and spy on their whereabouts. I see. The two of them suddenly understood. Dong Tianchen and the other two also understood Qin Feiyang's meaning. As long as Mu Qin was there, it didn't matter even if Dong Hanzong escaped. Because Mu Qin could track Dong Hanzong's whereabouts at any time and place. And now, Dong Hanzong's universe domain couldn't be opened again, so no matter how he escaped, he would only die. Qin Feiyang, Dong Hanzong, and Dong Qin have all gone to the village one after another. Obviously, they have secretly discussed a way out before. In the blink of an eye, Mu Qin's voice sounded in Qin Feiyang's mind. They went to the village? Qin Feiyang frowned. That's right. They must have thought that if they returned to the central dynasty, we would definitely hunt them down to the end, so they went to the village to seek refuge. Mu Qin thought. They are quite smart. With Boss Ji and the other elders, even we wouldn't dare to kill them directly in the village. But they don't know that these elders are all our people. Qin Feiyang smiled secretly. As his voice fell, he opened a time tunnel. Seeing this scene, Lunatic and White-Eyed Wolf smiled slightly. Without thinking, they knew that Mu Qin must have tracked Dong Hanzong's whereabouts. Let's go. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and stepped into the time tunnel. What are you waiting for? Do you still want to take revenge? White-eyed Wolf looked at Dong Tianqian and the other two, rolled his eyes, and rushed into the time tunnel with Lunatic. The three of them came back to their senses and quickly followed. In the village. At this moment, a group of elders stood at the entrance of the village. Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin stood outside the village. What are you doing here? Looking at the two in a sorry state, Boss Ji and the other elders frowned. Dong Qin was fine because she didn't offend them. But Dong Hanzong came to the village and acted like a tyrant, so they naturally didn't like him. Chapter 42-71. Plop. Without saying a word, Dong Qin knelt on the ground. The group of old men was stunned. What was going on? Wait. Previously, Little Wang said that Dong Hanzong is fighting with Qin Feiyang and the others. But now, Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin have come to us. Looking at Dong Hanzong's current appearance, could it be that the battle is over? Ji Laoer said. Hearing this, Ji Jiao looked at Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin, and a hint of understanding gradually appeared in his eyes. He secretly smiled and said, "It seems that they should be hiding from Qin Feiyang's pursuit, so they came here to ask for help." Sure enough. Dong Qin kowtowed with a pleading face and looked at the group of old men and said, "Please help us, seniors." Dong Hanzong looked at Dong Qin and also cupped his hands and said, "Please help us, seniors. This junior will definitely repay you in the future." Haha, now you know how to call yourself a junior? Weren't you very arrogant when you came here? Ji Laoer laughed. The gloating in his words was not concealed at all. Dong Hanzong clenched his hands, and a trace of hostility flashed between his eyebrows. Don't be impulsive. Dong Qin hurriedly comforted Dong Hanzong and looked at Ji Laoer and said, "Senior, we were wrong before. Please be magnanimous and don't bother with us. This old man is not such a petty person." Ji Laoer snorted coldly. Dong Qin was delighted and hurriedly said, "So, senior, you agree to help us? That's a different matter. This old man is magnanimous not to bother with you, but helping you is going against Qin Feiyang. Even you peerless geniuses of the Central Dynasty can't do anything to Qin Feiyang, let alone us old men." Ji Laoer sneered. "Senior, no matter how strong Qin Feiyang is, he certainly won't dare to come here." Dong Qin hurriedly said. "Who said I won't dare to come?" But before her voice faded, a cold voice sounded. A space-time passage appeared, and Qin Feiyang and the others came out one after another. What? Dong Qin's face suddenly turned pale. How did he find them so quickly? Did you forget about the all-seeing eye? Madman looked at the two of them mockingly. It's the all-seeing eye again. Dong Hanzong's heart went crazy. Mu Qin, just you wait. Sooner or later, I'll chop you into pieces. Dong Tianqian glanced at the two of them, then looked at the group of elders and said with a frown, "They're here to seek protection, right?" "That's right." Boss Ji nodded. "You can't protect them. This is an order." Dong Tianqian said with a cold glint in his eyes. "Ah." The group of elders couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. Dong Tianqian said with a murderous aura, "You don't need to ask why. In short, whoever protects them will die. In that case, we really can't make a move." The group of elders looked at each other and then frowned. "But if His Majesty pursues the matter, how are we going to answer to him?" "Don't worry. We will explain to His Majesty," Dong Tianqian said. "If that's the case," Boss Ji looked at Ji Laoer and the others and asked, "Then why don't we avoid trouble?" "Yes." Ji Laoer and the others nodded. "No, seniors, I beg of you, please help us." Dong Qin begged. "I'm sorry. Since Dong Tianqian has said so, we definitely can't help you." Boss Ji shook his head and retreated to the side. Ji Laoer and the others looked at each other and retreated silently. On the surface, they were all silent, but in fact, they were all laughing and chatting in secret. The ability of these kids really makes this old man have a whole new level of respect for them time and time again. Yeah. Even Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian chose to stand with them. Dong Hanzong is really stupid. Of all the people to scheme against, he had to scheme against these kids. Isn't he digging his own grave? In fact, they knew the reason. The Lord had already told them. Their previous performance was all an act. At the same time, seeing the group of elders standing by, Dong Qin's face was filled with despair. Dong Hanzong's eyes were also gloomy. It's time for you to die. Dong Tianqian and Dong Ping looked at each other with murderous intent in their eyes. Then, they took a step forward and charged at Dong Hanzong. Dong Hanzong glanced at the crowd and suddenly pulled Dong Qin, turned around, and flew away without looking back. You still want to leave? The two sneered and activated the moment of time and chased after him at lightning speed. Dong Xian also followed closely behind. Qin Feiyang, the Mad One, and the White-Eyed Wolf looked at each other with a hint of playfulness in their eyes. They also followed behind unhurriedly. Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, no matter what Brother Zong did to you, you can't join forces with Qin Feiyang to kill him. Dong Qin was furious and her words were filled with anxiety. Humph. Don't make it sound so nice. If it's you, you'll be crazier than us. Dong Ping snorted. No. If it's me, I'll definitely think about the big picture. Dong Qin hurriedly said. The big picture? When Dong Hanzong schemed against us, why didn't he think about the big picture? You, on the other hand, don't be so stubborn. Otherwise, don't blame us when we return to the Central Dynasty and attack your family. Dong Tianqian roared. If it wasn't for this woman, Dong Hanzong would have died in the Thousand Phoenix Mountain. Dong Qin's eyes trembled. This was the problem she was most worried about. She could follow Dong Hanzong and flee to the end of the world, but what about her family? Regardless of whether it was Dong Xian or Dong Tianqian, the clans behind them could easily wipe out her clan. She didn't want to be the sinner of her family. Suddenly, she steeled her heart and pushed Dong Hanzong away. She turned to face Dong Tianqian and the Mad One and said, "Use my death to exchange for Brother Zong's life, okay?" Dong Hanzong turned to look at Dong Qin and flew away without any hesitation. He's really not a man. Once again abandoning Dong Qin and escaping by himself, even Qin Feiyang and the other two were deeply disgusted by Dong Hanzong's actions. Was this the style of a man? Shouldn't a man stand up and protect his woman? How could a man hide behind a woman? Wake up. A man like him isn't worth your sacrifice. Dong Xian roared and was burning with anxiety. Can I? I beg you. Dong Qin turned a deaf ear and begged again and again. What a stupid woman. Get lost. Dong Tianqian roared. He slammed his palm toward Dong Qin without mercy. You forced me to do this. Dong Qin suddenly gave a low roar, and an enchantment suddenly appeared around her. Boom! The next moment, accompanied by the emergence of the power of laws, Dong Qin waved her hand and 7 ultimate laws appeared. The will of the heavenly Tao erupted. At the same time, in Dong Qin's domain, milky white runes appeared one after another, emitting a sacred aura. Boom! Immediately after, the will of the heavenly Tao released by the 7 ultimate laws soared to another level. This, Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. What was going on? Dual will of the heavenly Tao? That's right. At this time, Dong Qin's will of the heavenly Tao was already comparable to Qin Feiyang's dual will of the heavenly Tao. This is the vast heaven domain. It can increase the will of the heavenly Tao by 1 level. Dong Xian said in a deep voice. Damn! These 5 domains are indeed more ridiculous than the other. White-Eyed Wolf said in shock. Dual will of the heavenly Tao was not a joke. With Dong Qin's strength, it was completely enough to crush the older generation. Boom! Dong Qin waved her hand and the 7 ultimate laws charged toward Dong Tianqian and Dong Ping. The two panicked and hurriedly activated instant time to dodge. Now, their god-killing domain and undying domain were no longer there, so they couldn't fight Dong Qin head-on. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Qin and said to Madman, "Senior brother, you stay behind to deal with her." "No big deal." Madman chuckled. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and swept up the white-eyed wolf and Dong Tianqian. Then, he activated the dual will of the heavenly Tao and stepped on instant time to chase after Dong Hanzong. Don't even think about it. Dong Qin still wanted to stop Qin Feiyang. The 7 ultimate laws turned in the air and charged toward them. "Do you think Laozi doesn't exist?" Madman said angrily. Following a loud clang, the all-evil sword appeared out of thin air and slashed out furiously. Boom! A terrifying battle wave roared out and the surrounding mountains and rivers were instantly razed to the ground. Dual will of the heavenly Tao can no longer stop Laozi. Madman laughed proudly and exerted force with both hands. The all-evil sword's edge was monstrous as it shattered Dong Qin's 7 ultimate laws. What? Dong Qin's delicate body trembled as blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. This was the strength of Madman? So strong. No wonder even Dong Ping was defeated by this person. This all-evil sword is indeed able to compete with the human race's sword of faith. In the distance, Boss Ji and the group of elders looked at Madman from afar. Their old faces were filled with gratification. The sword of faith absorbed the power of faith of living beings, while the all-evil sword absorbed all the evil power in the world. The two could be considered to have the same effect. Moreover, the sword of faith would continue to grow stronger with the increase of faith. The all-evil sword was the same. Dong Xian, don't blame me, I don't have any feelings for you, it's just your wishful thinking. To be able to fight for a way out for me, it can be considered your value. In the sky above a mountain. Sensing the battle waves between Dong Qin and Madman, Dong Hanzong muttered to himself, appearing extremely cold. In his eyes, there was only himself. The others were just chess pieces in his hands. However, just when he thought that Dong Qin had restrained everyone and fought for a way out for him, auras rapidly approached from behind. Qin Feiyang, Golden-Winged Wolf King, Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, Dong Xian. She only restrained Madman alone? She is indeed a trash. Not only was he not grateful, but he also blamed Dong Qin for being useless. This was Dong Hanzong's nature. Selfish, self-interested, they weren't worthy of being human. Because no matter who it was, no matter how cold their personality was, at least they would have a little conscience. Dong Hanzong was completely heartless. Chapter 4272. Quick, quick, quick. He's right in front. Dual wills of the Great Path were indeed extraordinary. In just a few breaths, they saw Dong Hanzong in front of them. Dong Tianqian couldn't help but urge, his eyes emitting a piercing cold light. White-eyed Wolf looked at Dong Tianqian, speechless. Looking at your expression now, those who don't know would think that you're the mortal enemy. We're mortal enemies to begin with. Dong Tianqian sneered. If Qin Feiyang and the others had schemed against them, he could still understand. After all, they were mortal enemies. But Dong Hanzong, no matter what, they were all companions, and he actually schemed against them behind their backs. If it weren't for Dong Hanzong's scheme, would he, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian have fallen into Qin Feiyang's hands? Therefore, all of this was Dong Hanzong's fault. He must pay the price. In front, Dong Hanzong's face was gloomy. They were getting closer and closer. What should he do? Suddenly, he opened a space-time tunnel and entered without looking back. When Qin Feiyang and the others caught up, the space-time tunnel had begun to dissipate. Dong Tianxian smashed the space-time tunnel with a punch in anger, but Dong Hanzong didn't appear. Damn it. He immediately flew into a rage. Dong Ping was the same. Qin Feiyang stopped and transmitted his voice. Mu Qing, how is it? Forbidden Ocean. Mu Qing immediately replied. Because he had been spying on Dong Hanzong's whereabouts in the Black Tortoise world. Thank you. You'll have to continue spying. Lest he splits his divine soul and escapes our pursuit while we're not around. Qin Feiyang thought. Got it. Mu Qing's voice sounded reliable indeed. Qin Feiyang's face revealed a trace of a smile, and immediately opened a space-time tunnel, bringing White-Eyed Wolf, Dong Tianxian, and the others into the tunnel at lightning speed. In the next moment, they descended in the sky above a sea. In the sea ahead, the wind howled and huge waves surged. The sky was incomparably dark. Forbidden Ocean? Dong Tianxian was slightly stunned. He quickly scanned the surrounding sea area. His gaze locked onto a certain spot in the taboo ocean ahead. He saw a figure rushing towards the depths of the taboo ocean at lightning speed. Chase. That was right. It was Dong Hanzong. Dong Tianxian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian were all very excited. Because in the taboo ocean, it was impossible to open a space-time channel. Once Dong Hanzong entered the taboo ocean, he would be like a trapped beast, unable to escape even if he had wings. Now, he has no other choice but to return to the Central Dynasty. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. He swept up the four of them and activated the moment of time to chase after them. Qin Feiyang, things are not looking good. Suddenly, Mu Qing's voice sounded in Qin Feiyang's mind. Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Before you arrived at the taboo ocean, Dong Hanzong split off a dozen divine souls, and they are now fleeing in all directions. Mu Qing said. What? There are so many divine souls? Qin Feiyang glanced at the surrounding sea, his brows knitted tightly together. The more divine souls he splits, the easier it is to ensure his safety. Because as long as a wisp of divine soul escapes, he will not die. Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang didn't stop. After pondering for a while, he sent a sound transmission. Help me pay attention to those dozen or so souls first. After killing Dong Hanzong's main body, I'll slowly search for those souls. Okay. Mu Qing responded. Qin Feiyang raised his head and stared at Dong Hanzong's back. There was a cold glint in his eyes. He was really a difficult person to deal with. It could even be said that without Mu Qing's help, he would not be able to kill Dong Hanzong at all. Therefore, now that there was a chance, he had to get rid of him. Seeing that Qin Feiyang and the rest were getting closer and closer, Dong Hanzong fled while shouting in panic, Qin Feiyang, let's discuss. Discuss what? White-Eyed Wolf sneered. Let's cooperate. Dong Hanzong said. Scoundrel, you want to betray the Divine Kingdom? Dong Tianxian heard this and shouted angrily. Betray? You still have the nerve to say this? Haven't you already betrayed the Divine Kingdom? As a direct descendant, you can betray the Divine Kingdom. Why can't I, a branch descendant that you look down on, do the same? Dong Hanzong sneered. We are all in this mess because of you. Otherwise, how can we be controlled by Qin Feiyang now? Dong Tianxian roared. He did not hide his words. Because he followed Qin Feiyang, he was unwilling to do so. Then you can only blame your incompetence. If it weren't for Qin Feiyang helping you, would you be able to be so arrogant until now? Dong Hanzong smiled coldly and continued, Qin Feiyang, the few of them only control one domain. My Qinkuan domain can evolve into all of their domains. My strength alone is stronger than the few of them combined. So if we cooperate, it will be a true alliance. Makes sense. White-Eyed Wolf nodded. Dong Tianqian and the other two panicked and hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang. Big brother, don't change your mind at this time. If Qin Feiyang really changed his mind, then the three of them would have to die. Because Dong Hanzong would not allow them to continue living in this world. Moreover, after cooperating with Dong Hanzong, they would lose their value. Qin Feiyang would naturally not keep them alive. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered and said with a smile, in terms of value, you indeed far surpass them. Hearing this, Dong Tianqian and the other two's hearts could not help but be in their throats. Dong Hanzong was somewhat happy. Qin Feiyang suddenly changed the topic and shook his head, but you are too dangerous and too ruthless. Dong Qin is infatuated with you, but you only know how to use her. Although I, Qin Feiyang, am not a good person, at the very least, I still have a conscience. Who? Dong Tianqian and the other two let out a long breath. Isn't it just a woman? Dong Hanzong said angrily. Isn't it just a woman? Do you look down on women? Your mother is not a woman. Without your mother, would there be you? Let me tell you, women are the greatest, especially a woman who is dead set on you and is even willing to sacrifice herself for you. You should cherish her even more. If you did not abandon Dong Qin, maybe I would really consider cooperating with you. But now, I will give you 3 words, you are not worthy. Qin Feiyang laughed angrily. As his voice fell, he finally caught up with Dong Hanzong. The ultimate profound of the law of life and death, the ultimate profound of the 6 strongest laws, were all activated in an instant. Bastard! I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Dong Hanzong roared. The 7 ultimate profound truths were activated, and the will of the heavenly Tao erupted, angrily charging towards Qin Feiyang. You don't even have the chance to become a ghost. Qin Feiyang sneered, and the 7 ultimate profound truths were suppressed. Accompanied by a loud bang, Dong Hanzong's 7 ultimate profound truths were annihilated on the spot. Following closely, the 7 ultimate profound truths drowned Dong Hanzong. A shrill scream resounded through the sky. Without the Qinkuan domain, the undying body in the invincible state, Dong Hanzong was as weak as an ant in front of Qin Feiyang. His body was shattered, and blood splattered across the sky. No, I'm not willing, Dong Hanzong roared with resentment, and his soul struggled frantically, but to no avail. In the end, his soul was destroyed. For a moment, the place fell into a dead silence. Dong Tianqian and the other two looked at the void, their hearts full of joy. Come and continue to scheme against us. Now, he had even schemed to lose his own life. What a reckless thing. However, following closely, the 3 of them looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, their hearts filled with mixed feelings. They never thought that they would join forces with Qin Feiyang and the others to kill Dong Hanzong. What was even more unexpected was that Qin Feiyang would save them again and again. Fate? No. This was an ill-fated fate. Qin Feiyang suddenly turned to look at the 3 of them, and said, Do you think it's over? What? The 3 of them immediately became vigilant. Was he going to burn the bridge after crossing the river and kill them? Ugh! Looking at the reaction of the 3 of them, Qin Feiyang was stunned, and said speechlessly, Don't misunderstand me, I mean Dong Hanzong is not dead yet. What? Not dead yet? The 3 of them looked at each other. Mu Qing has been monitoring him with the heavenly eye. Mu Qing told me before that when we chased him to the taboo ocean, Dong Hanzong had already split into more than a dozen divine souls and fled in different directions. So now, we still have to chase after these divine souls. Qin Feiyang said. So that's how it is. The 3 of them couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It really gave them a fright. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and Mu Qing appeared and said with a smile, Lead the way. Mu Qing glanced at Dong Tianqian and the other 2, pointed to the south of the taboo ocean, and said, 7 divine souls went there, they should also want to escape back to the central dynasty. What about the rest? Qin Feiyang asked. The remaining few divine souls fled to the Sea clan and the Beast clan respectively. Mu Qing said. Then let's go and destroy those 7 divine souls first. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with murderous intent, rolled up the few of them, and rushed to the south. Dong Tianqian and the other 2 looked at each other, their eyes full of fear. This was the fear of Mu Qing. Although Mu Qing's strength was not as strong as theirs now, the power of the heavenly eye was too terrifying. No matter how hard they tried to hide, they couldn't hide from Mu Qing's prying eyes. This was the best proof. If it weren't for Mu Qing, who would have known that Dong Hanzong had split his divine souls in advance? And there were more than a dozen divine souls? If they didn't know, Dong Hanzong wouldn't have died. It was no exaggeration to say that. Mu Qing's threat was greater than Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and the Golden Wings Wolf King. Now, thinking back to their initial idea of coming to the 4 great continents, even they felt a little ridiculous. They still wanted to kill these people? They were too naive. Just Mu Qing, Qin Feiyang, the mad scientist, and the white-eyed wolf were enough to wipe them out, not to mention the demon ancestor, Dong Zhengyang, Mu Tianyang, and Long Chen, these monsters. If these people all attacked, who would be their match? When they were in the Central Dynasty, when they heard the 8 elites talk about Qin Feiyang and the others, they didn't take it to heart at all. They even thought that the 8 elites were exaggerating and were boosting the morale of others while diminishing their own power. But now, when they faced and experienced it personally, they knew that it was more terrifying than what the 8 elites said. They could also predict. The future of the Divine Kingdom was worrying. Chapter 42-73. A moment passed. A primitive deserted island entered the sight of Qin Feiyang and the others. Mu Qing said, "There is a soul here, but he has found us and is hiding in an abandoned cave on the island." Still hiding? The white-eyed wolf laughed. Whoosh! A group of people entered the deserted island. Under Mu Qing's lead, they went straight to the cave. "Mu Qing, you damn thing, I will not let you go." Inside the cave, Dong Hanzong's soul was furious. If it weren't for Mu Qing's interference, even if Qin Feiyang had 100 pairs of eyes, it would be impossible for him to find his soul. It was even more impossible for him to know that he had split into more than a dozen souls as soon as he entered the taboo ocean. "Huh, I didn't ask you to let me go." Mu Qing's laughter rang out. Following closely, a group of people entered the cave. Dong Hanzong stared at Mu Qing with resentment and said with a grim smile, "You will not have good karma because you have revealed too many secrets." Hearing this, Mu Qing's expression was slightly stiff. This abnormality was clearly noticed by Qin Feiyang and secretly said, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Mu Qing waved his hand and looked at Dong Hanzong and said indifferently, "I don't know if I will have good karma in the future, but I know that you will definitely not have good karma." "You bastard," Dong Hanzong roared. "How dare you spout shit?" Dong Tianqian took a step forward and grabbed Dong Hanzong's soul. "Dong Tianqian, don't offend him. When you get rid of me, Qin Feiyang will not let you go, let alone your brothers Dong Ping and Dong Xian. Soon, we will be reunited in hell." Dong Hanzong laughed sinisterly. "You don't have to worry about that." Dong Tianqian smiled coldly and clenched his 5 fingers. Dong Hanzong screamed and his soul was annihilated on the spot. Next place. Without any hesitation, Qin Feiyang and the others chased after the second soul under the guidance of Mu Qing. Qin Feiyang pondered along the way. In the end, he could not help but ask Mu Qing, what did Dong Hanzong mean by his words just now? Because there was indeed something wrong with Mu Qing's previous reaction. What words? Mu Qing looked at him suspiciously. "Stop playing dumb." Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him. White-eyed wolf and Dong Tianqian looked at Mu Qing in confusion. Mu Qing pondered for a moment and smiled faintly. "Isn't there a saying? The secrets of the heavens cannot be revealed, or else you will be punished by the heavens. It means that if you reveal too many secrets of the heavens, you will be plagued by bad luck in the future. Bad luck? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He shook his head and said, I don't understand. In short, my all-seeing eye is said to be able to see all things in the world, but it is said to be able to see the secrets of the heavens. Mu Qing said. The white-eyed wolf frowned and asked, in other words, by helping us find Dong Hanzong's soul, you are revealing the secrets of the heavens? Yes. By doing this, I am actually interfering with the fate of others. It is not an exaggeration to say that I am revealing the secrets of the heavens. Mu Qing nodded. Will you really be punished by the heavens in the future? The white-eyed wolf asked. Punished by the heavens, Mu Qing muttered and shook his head. I don't know, but my all-seeing eye is similar to Dong Xingyang's eye of destiny. They are both able to see the secrets of the heavens. Didn't Dong Tianqian always say that? I think it is reasonable that we cannot reveal the secrets of the heavens. In that case, you have to use your all-seeing eye less in the future? Qin Feiyang said. It is not that exaggerated. In comparison, my all-seeing eye is less risky than the eye of destiny. After all, the eye of destiny is able to see the fate of others directly. This is the true meaning of revealing the secrets of the heavens. Besides, so what if there is heavenly punishment? It is merely heavenly punishment. What can it do to me? Mu Qing smiled domineeringly. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf could not help but laugh. That was right. So what if there was heavenly punishment? At most, they would face it together in the future. Soon. They had successfully erased the second divine soul. This time, Dong Hanzong was completely flustered. The remaining dozens of souls did not know where to go. This was because no matter where he hid, Mu Qing could easily find him. A day passed. Finally, there was only one soul left. The divine soul kept fleeing in the East Continent, panicking to the extreme. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to remain calm in such a situation. This was because if the last soul was destroyed, it would mean the complete destruction of the soul. Dong Hanzong really did not want to die. It was not easy for him to achieve today's success and status. He could not bear to lose these things. Unknowingly, he fled to the sky above an island. On the island below, he sensed many powerful auras. Where is this? He could not help but stop and scan the island. A trace of suspicion crept up in his heart. Who is it? Accompanied by a shout, a few members of the ocean tribe flew into the sky and stared at Dong Hanzong's soul with murderous intent. Ocean tribe? Dong Hanzong was slightly stunned. As if he had seen a life-saving straw, he hurriedly said, I am Dong Hanzong from the Central Dynasty. I order you to escort me back to the Central Dynasty immediately. Dong Hanzong? The members of the ocean tribe were shocked. Whoosh! At this moment, a golden figure flew into the sky and landed in front of Dong Hanzong. Greetings, little prince. The members of the ocean tribe bowed. Little prince? Dong Hanzong was stunned. He looked at the youth in front of him and asked in surprise, You are Hai Zidong? That is me. Hai Zidong nodded. That was right. This island was the place where the remnants of the ocean tribe gathered. Now, all the remnants of the ocean tribe were led by Hai Zidong. Dong Hanzong was shocked and hurriedly said, Hai Zidong, Qin Feiyang is chasing after me. Quickly think of a way to send me back to the Central Dynasty. As long as you can send me back to the Central Dynasty, I will give you whatever you want. Hearing this, Hai Zidong's expression was quite strange. Another person came to ask him to escort back to the Central Dynasty? And he was also being chased by Qin Feiyang. These so-called peerless geniuses, were they so weak? Little prince, we can't interfere in this matter. That's right. Now, we can't afford to offend Qin Feiyang. If we let him know that we are helping his enemy, He will not let us go. The members of the ocean tribe behind him hurriedly looked at Hai Zedong and said, "How dare you?" Dong Hanzong was furious. He glared at them and shouted, "As people of the divine kingdom, you are not afraid that the emperor will punish you in the future? Humph. Don't say such pompous words. In order to deal with Qin Feiyang, the ocean tribe has been wiped out by them. Isn't this sacrifice enough? Do you want the ocean tribe to be wiped out? Moreover, when the ocean tribe was wiped out, where was the emperor of the central dynasty? Now you want us to help you? In your dreams." The members of the ocean tribe didn't give Dong Hanzong any face. Dong Hanzong's face was gloomy. Was this the current situation of the four great continents? Even the ocean tribe didn't dare to go against Qin Feiyang and the others? One had to know. Qin Feiyang and the others were intruders. Shouldn't the forces of the divine kingdom be united against the intruders? But now, they were scared out of their wits. Suddenly, Hai Zedong looked at the members of the ocean tribe and said angrily, "How dare you speak to the emperor of the central dynasty? Hurry up and apologize." "Your Highness, you," the members of the ocean tribe looked at Hai Zedong in disbelief. "Now you are speaking for the people of the central dynasty? Hurry up and apologize." Hai Zedong's eyes were cold. The members of the ocean tribe looked at each other and suppressed the anger in their hearts. They looked at Dong Hanzong and said, "We're sorry." Dong Hanzong looked at Hai Zedong and sighed. "It's not your fault. After all, Qin Feiyang and the others are too cruel. You know?" They snorted in their hearts. He shouldn't have come here and implicated them. Hai Zedong looked at them and said with a smile, "Sir, please go to the island and rest." "I can't rest." Dong Hanzong hurriedly said, "Qin Feiyang is chasing me. Mu Qing has the all-seeing eye. She must have known that I'm with you." "What?" The members of the ocean tribe were shocked. Didn't that mean that Qin Feiyang would bring people to kill them later? "Your Highness, let's run. This place is no longer safe." They looked at Hai Zedong, their faces full of fear for Qin Feiyang and the others. "Mu Qing has the all-seeing eye. How can we escape?" Hai Zedong shook his head. "Then what should we do?" They were desperate to the extreme. "There is only one way now." Hai Zedong sighed deeply. "What is it?" they asked. Dong Hanzong also looked at Hai Zedong expectantly. Hai Zedong didn't speak and just stared at Dong Hanzong. They were a little puzzled at first, but looking at Hai Zedong's eyes, they gradually understood Hai Zedong's idea. He wanted to take down Dong Hanzong and ask for credit from Qin Feiyang. "Your Highness, this is not good. What if the people of the central dynasty know about this? Will they spare us?" They were very nervous. "Then what better way do you have?" Hai Zedong asked. They fell silent. They were now the strongest people among the remnants of the ocean tribe. Besides Hai Zedong, they were the most powerful people in the ocean tribe. So, Hai Zedong took this opportunity to deliberately put on such a show to let these people support him. Because now, he was loyal to Qin Feiyang. But, he didn't dare to say it out loud. Because once he said it out loud and let the people know that he had become Qin Feiyang's subordinate, they would definitely be dissatisfied with him. But if these people in front of him stood with him in the future, then the ending would be different. "What are you doing?" Dong Hanzong stared at them. "Nothing. We are just discussing how to escape from Qin Feiyang's pursuit and successfully send you back to the central dynasty." Hai Zedong comforted them and at the same time, he transmitted his voice to them, captured Dong Hanzong and hand him over to Qin Feiyang. "This is the only way. Think about it carefully." They looked at each other. In the end, for the future of the ocean tribe, they made a decision. "Okay. Let's do it. Who cares about the central dynasty? Who cares about the emperor? Let's save our own lives first." Hearing these words, Hai Zedong's eyes flashed with a smile. With the support of these people, whether it was to rule the ocean tribe and the beast race in the future or to contact Qin Feiyang, there was no need to hide. As for this Dong Hanzong, he actually came to him for help. Wasn't this walking into a trap? Chapter 4274. The more Dong Hanzong looked at Hai Zidong's group, the more he felt that something was wrong. Whether it was Hai Zidong or the several sea folk, although they all had a fawning appearance, there was a hint of killing intent in their eyes. No. These people can't be trusted. Dong Hanzong made a prompt decision. Dong Hanzong turned around and flew away without looking back. Where do you think you're going? The several sea folk elders looked at each other and stepped out, surrounding Dong Hanzong. What are you doing? Dong Hanzong looked at them gloomily. Nothing. We just want to protect you. It's too dangerous for you to run out alone. Hai Zidong chuckled. However, this smile made Dong Hanzong more and more flustered. Dong Hanzong looked at the several sea folk elders and said with a smile, "Quickly invite this lord to rest on the island." Yes. They nodded and retreated to the side, pointing at the island below. "Lord, please." Dong Hanzong's eyes flickered as he flew towards the island. But before he could fly more than 10 meters, he suddenly turned around and fled. Humph. Take him down. Hai Zidong no longer concealed himself and shouted coldly. The several sea folk elders no longer had a cold look in their eyes. Various law forces emerged and imprisoned Dong Hanzong's divine soul. You're courting death. Dong Hanzong roared hysterically. Courting death? Hai Zidong sneered and looked at Dong Hanzong. If we help you now, we'll be courting death. Your Highness, what are you doing? On the island below. Many sea folk appeared and looked at Hai Zidong suspiciously. Hai Zidong sighed and said helplessly, I'm protecting you. If we let Dong Hanzong go now, Qin Feiyang will definitely not let us go. Yes. This is the only way. Hand Dong Hanzong over to Qin Feiyang in exchange for our sea folk's survival. The several sea folk elders nodded one after another, their expressions filled with sorrow. In the past, the sea folk was the overlord of the divine kingdom, an existence revered by countless creatures. But now, they had reached the point of betraying their master in exchange for survival. Hearing the words of Hai Zidong and the several eminent elders, all the members of the sea race fell silent. Their hearts were filled with bitterness. The once glorious sea race no longer existed. Now, they were just pitiful creatures struggling for survival. Wang. Suddenly, the void ahead trembled. A space-time tunnel appeared. A group of 6 people walked out of the passage. It was Qin Feiyang and his group. In an instant, all the members of the oceanic race became nervous. Because whether it was Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, or Mu Qin, they were all people who made people tremble in fear. Not to mention that Dong Tianqian, Dong Xian, and Dong Ping were the 3 geniuses of the central dynasty. What happened? Looking at the imprisoned Dong Hanzong, Qin Feiyang and the others were dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang, Mu Qin, and the white-eyed wolf were all faked. Because Hai Zidong was now one of them. When they learned that Dong Hanzong's divine soul had escaped here, they already knew that this would be the outcome. Dong Tianqian also knew. Because Dong Tianqian knew that Hai Zidong had surrendered to Qin Feiyang. But Dong Xian and Dong Ping did not know. The shock on their faces was very real. Greetings, lords. Hai Zidong hurriedly went up and bowed. And waved to the clansmen behind him. These clansmen also understood Qin Feiyang's intentions and hurriedly bowed to Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang glanced at the members of the sea race and said, You are imprisoning Dong Hanzong now. Your clansmen don't have any objections, right? They won't have any objections. Because I have already taken care of it. Now these clansmen are very supportive of me. Hai Zidong secretly said. Not bad. It seems that you did not disappoint my high hopes for you. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Hai Zidong smiled coldly, not taking it seriously. High hopes? Don't make it sound so dignified. You obviously want to use me. Lord Qin, we will hand over Dong Hanzong's soul to you now. Please give us a way out. Several elders looked at Qin Feiyang pleadingly. A way out, Qin Feiyang murmured. Dong Ping hesitated, turned to Qin Feiyang, and said, please give them a way out. After all, they have helped us. Why are you interrupting? Dong Tianqian secretly glared at him. Brother, what are you saying? The sea race is also a member of our divine kingdom. Is it wrong for me to plead for them? Dong Ping was puzzled. Dong Xian also looked at Dong Tianqian suspiciously. You don't understand. Hai Zidong has already surrendered to Qin Feiyang. Now it is just a show that Hai Zidong is putting on in front of the clansmen. Dong Tianqian secretly said. What? Hai Zidong has already surrendered to Qin Feiyang? The two were surprised. That's right. I fell into Qin Feiyang's hands because of this Hai Zidong. Dong Tianqian's eyes flashed with killing intent. But he didn't think that even if Hai Zidong didn't betray him, he still couldn't escape. Damn bastard. Dong Ping and the other two were furious. Hai Zidong felt the killing intent of the three, but he didn't take it to heart. Because Dong Tianqian was already under Qin Feiyang's control, what was there to worry about? Since Dong Ping personally pleaded for you, I will be merciful and give you a way out. But remember, don't offend me again. Qin Feiyang looked at the several founding elders and said indifferently. Thank you, Lord Qin. The elders were moved to tears of gratitude. The other members of the sea race also heaved a sigh of relief. Hai Zidong was also very grateful. He then looked at Dong Ping and bowed, thank you, Lord, for pleading for us. Dong Ping's face darkened. Why don't you go and be an actor? Qin Feiyang turned to Mu Qing and asked, this is the last divine soul, right? Yes. Mu Qing nodded. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. He looked at Dong Tianqian and the other two and said, as long as this spirit is destroyed, Dong Hanzong's soul will truly be destroyed. So, are we going to do it, or are you going to do it? Of course it should be us. Dong Tianqian and the other two stepped out and landed in front of the barrier. They looked at Dong Hanzong and sneered, you didn't expect this, right? Even if you split a dozen divine souls, you can't escape death. Why are you so arrogant? If it weren't for Mu Qing's help, do you think you could find my divine souls? You are just a few pieces of trash who only know how to rely on others. No, you are worse than trash. Dong Hanzong roared. Still arrogant. Dong Ping smashed the barrier and grabbed Dong Hanzong's divine soul. Even if you kill me, you are still trash. This is your fate, and it can never be changed. Dong Hanzong laughed. Dong Ping was furious. But Dong Tianqian suddenly reached out and pressed Dong Ping's shoulder. He smiled and said, there is no need to be angry with a person who is about to die. True. Dong Ping nodded and sneered, you just want to provoke us so that we will give you a chance to live, but do you think that is possible? Dong Hanzong panicked. He did have such a plan, but he didn't expect Dong Tianqian to see through it. As for what trash? That's even more ridiculous. Right now, we are looking down on you as the victors, and you are being held in our hands like a dead dog. This is the best proof. Dong Ping sneered. You won't be proud for long. Facing the repeated humiliation, Dong Hanzong roared in exasperation. I am still better than you. Go and apologize for the mistakes you've made. Dong Ping clenched his fist and the last divine soul of Dong Hanzong was crushed on the spot. Only a resentful roar was left, echoing in the air above the island for a long time. He's finally dead. Dong Xian whispered. The disgusting feeling in her heart finally disappeared. His entire body felt comfortable. The white-eyed wolf rolled his eyes and looked at Dong Tianchen and the other two. He grinned and said, "You three, Hai Zidong has helped us so much. Shouldn't we give him some reward?" "Reward him?" The three of them froze. "Don't take advantage of us, okay?" But Hai Zidong and the others' eyes lit up. These three were all peerless geniuses of the Central Dynasty and came from powerful families. They must have a lot of treasures on them. Moreover, with their status and identity, they would be too embarrassed to take out ordinary cheap things. "We can't let people help us for free." The white-eyed wolf grinned. Dong Tianshan's face darkened and said angrily, "Our interspatial rings were destroyed when we fought with you. We can't even take out half a divine stone, let alone other things." "Insincere." The white-eyed wolf shook his head. "The key is that we can take it out." Dong Tianshan roared. "Fine. It seems that your so-called status and identity are all bragging," the white-eyed wolf said with a look of disdain. The three of them had dark faces and blue veins popped out. Hai Zidong's eyes flashed and he bowed. "Lord Wolf King, we don't need any reward. If possible, I hope to get a promise from Dong Tianshan and the other two." The white-eyed wolf was taken aback and asked suspiciously, "What promise?" Qin Feiyang, Dong Tianshan, and the other two couldn't help but look at Hai Zidong in confusion. Hai Zidong looked at the clansman behind him and waved his hand. "You can leave first." "Your Highness," the several elders were very worried. Hai Zidong said, "Whether or not we can keep the peace of the sea race forever depends on this." "You can leave now." "Keep the peace of the sea race forever?" The several elders looked at each other. All of a sudden, she felt that the little prince was quite daring. "Okay. Be careful." They secretly responded, then turned to look at the clansmen behind them and shouted, "You can leave now." At that moment, all the clansmen of the sea race flew towards the island below. Soon, only Hai Zidong, Qin Feiyang and the others were left here. "What does this guy want to say? So mysterious." The white-eyed wolf muttered. "Who knows?" Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. Whoosh! Hai Zidong took a deep breath and turned his head to look at Dong Tianshan and the other two. He bowed and said, "This lowly one hopes that the three of you can keep your mouths shut about the matter of this lowly one submitting to Qin Feiyang. Especially not to tell His Majesty." This, the white-eyed wolf and Qin Feiyang looked at each other. This kid was smart. It was really impressive. Because if the matter of Hai Zidong submitting to them fell into the ears of the Central Dynasty's emperor, the emperor would never let Hai Zidong and the sea race go. At that time, the sea race would really face the crisis of extinction. Chapter 4275. Although Hai Zidong had no choice but to submit to Qin Feiyang, would the emperor care about this? The emperor only knew that Hai Zidong had indeed betrayed the divine kingdom. Would the emperor show mercy to a traitor? Definitely not. But if Dong Tianshan and the other two helped to hide this matter from the emperor, then Hai Zidong and the sea race would not be in danger of extinction. That was why Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf said that Hai Zidong was smart and knew how to seize the opportunity to solve these hidden dangers. Compared to the so-called reward, it was much more worth it. Because not only would this protect Hai Zidong himself, but also the entire sea race. Looking at Dong Tianshan and the other two, hearing Hai Zidong's request, they could not help but frown. Hey. This request is not too much. Besides, you are now our people. You and Hai Zidong are already on the same side. Isn't it only right for us to help each other? Or do you have other intentions? The white-eyed wolf stared at the three with hostility. Dong Ping said angrily, "We are only under your control, we did not submit to you." "But your brother said so." The white-eyed wolf looked at him mockingly. "Brother?" Dong Ping looked at Dong Tianshan in disbelief. Dong Tianxin's eyes darkened as he looked at Dong Ping and Dong Xian. I did not say that. We are just in a cooperative relationship. Besides, I have no choice. In order to save you, I have to agree. Hearing this, the two could not help but fall silent. Just a cooperative relationship? Why do I seem to remember that you said to be loyal? The white-eyed wolf had a playful look on his face. You, Dong Tianxin stared at the white-eyed wolf angrily, not giving him any face at all. Finally, he looked at Hai Zidong angrily and nodded. Okay, I promise you, I will help you keep this secret. Words are no proof. Swear a blood oath. Hai Zidong said. Don't go too far. Dong Tianxin was furious. Do you think you're Qin Feiyang? You're just a little prince of the sea race. How dare you make him swear a blood oath? The white-eyed wolf said indifferently, don't waste time. If you want to swear a blood oath, then so be it. You have nothing to lose anyway. Hai Zidong cast a grateful look at the white-eyed wolf. Without the white-eyed wolf's deterrence, it was impossible for Dong Tianxin to make a blood oath. Dong Tianxin was so angry that his body couldn't help trembling as he said furiously, if I don't swear this blood oath today, what can you do to me? Give it a try then. Anyway, your brother and Dong Xian's lives are still in Long Chen's hands. By the way, let me remind you that the one controlling your younger brother and Dong Xian is soul manipulation. The white-eyed wolf cackled. Soul manipulation. Dong Tianxin didn't think much of it, because he knew that it was the soul-controlling technique. However, Dong Ping and Dong Xian's faces turned pale when they heard the word soul manipulation. Yu Lao, Neptune, the dragon god, the sea god, and the beast god were all controlled by soul manipulation and willingly stripped of their ultimate meaning. Do you also want Dong Ping and Dong Xian to follow in their footsteps? The white-eyed wolf looked at Dong Tianxin and laughed proudly. You, Dong Tianxin glared at the white-eyed wolf in anger. There's no use glaring at me. The final choice is up to you. The white-eyed wolf laughed. Do you think you have a chance to resist? Huff. Dong Tianxin took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart as he quickly swore a blood oath. Looking at the oath seal descending from the sky, Hai Zidong also let out a long sigh. Let's go. Let's meet up with senior brother. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. After sending Mu Qin to the Black Tortoise world, he opened a space-time passage and left. After the group left, several elders of the Sea clan immediately flew up and looked at Hai Zidong. Your Highness, what exactly did you say to them? There was actually an oath seal descending. Good thing. From now on, our Sea clan will no longer be in any danger. Hai Zidong laughed. Really? The few of them couldn't believe it. Because in their opinion, Hai Zidong didn't have the ability to do so, not to mention the other party was a peerless genius like Dong Tianxin. What? Could it be that in your eyes, I'm still that playboy? Hai Zidong looked at them. No, no. They hurriedly waved their hands. Sigh. Hai Zidong looked at them, then glanced at the clansmen on the island below and sighed. In the past, I was very playboy and only knew how to idle around all day, but people will grow, especially after experiencing such a big bumpy life. If I still don't know how to grow, then there is really no hope. When the elders heard this, they couldn't help but look at Hai Zidong seriously. This was too much of the little prince in their impression. However, this was something to be happy about. It meant that His Highness had grown up, matured, and could shoulder the burden of reviving the Sea clan. At the same time. What are you staring at? If it wasn't for you being pitiful, this daddy would have killed you long ago. In the sky above a broken mountain. Madman sat cross-legged in the void, staring at Dong Qin angrily. Dong Qin's body was dripping with blood, and there was a fist-sized bloody hole in her lower abdomen. She was imprisoned in a barrier, and throughout the whole process, she stared at Madman with a pair of resentful eyes. Facing Madman's angry rebuke, Dong Qin didn't speak, nor did she have any reaction. She just stared at Madman without moving. Madman rubbed his forehead, speechless. This daddy really doesn't know what charm that Dong Hanzong has to make you so infatuated with him. Let's talk about his appearance first. He isn't half as handsome as this daddy. Then, his strength is just average. Finally, his character is simply a fighter among scum. Shut up. You are not allowed to say that about Brother Zong. Dong Qin finally reacted. Brother Zong? I think you are really sick. Madman shook his head. Swish. Qin Feiyang and the others arrived. Qin Feiyang smiled. Senior brother, what if I say I'm sick? Who else can I say? Madman got up, glanced at Dong Qin inside the barrier, and said, this woman is really hopeless. This daddy has been talking here for a long time, but it feels like I'm playing the lute to a cow. Qin Feiyang, White-Eyed Wolf, and Dong Tianqian couldn't help but look at Dong Qin. Where is Brother Zong? Seeing Qin Feiyang and the others arrive, Dong Qin also calmed down. She pressed her hands on the barrier and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others. He is already dead. Dong Xian sighed. Dong Qin's expression stiffened, and she shook her head. Impossible, you must be lying to me. Looking at her expression, Dong Ping couldn't bear it anymore. He stepped into the barrier and slapped Dong Qin's face, and Dong Qin was sent flying on the spot. Dong Ping roared, can you wake up? He is a scum, is he worth it? Dong Ping's reaction seems to be a bit big. White-Eyed Wolf muttered. Yes. And there seems to be a hint of jealousy. Qin Feiyang and Madman also nodded. Sigh. Dong Tianqian sighed and said, actually, my younger brother has always liked Dong Qin, but Dong Qin's heart is only for Dong Hanzong. I see. Qin Feiyang and the others suddenly understood. It turned out to be a love triangle. White-Eyed Wolf secretly laughed. Even if your younger brother likes her, even if Dong Hanzong is dead, your younger brother has no chance, unless your younger brother doesn't mind. What do you mean? Dong Tianqian looked at White-Eyed Wolf suspiciously. White-Eyed Wolf said, Mu Qin used her all-seeing eye to see Dong Qin and Dong Hanzong together last night. What? Dong Tianqian's expression stiffened, and when he recovered, he immediately looked at Dong Ping and said angrily, come back here, what does she have to do with you? How does it have nothing to do with me? I like. Before Dong Ping could finish, Dong Tianqian shouted, so what if you like her? She's already Dong Hanzong's woman. This, Dong Ping was stunned and quickly shook his head, that's impossible, you're lying. Mu Qin used her all-seeing eye to see it, how can it be fake? Dong Tianqian said. Dong Ping clenched his fists and grabbed Dong Qin's neck, lifting her up and shouting like a madman, tell me, this is not true, it's not true. Dong Qin's mouth was bleeding, and she looked at Dong Ping with empty eyes. Answer me. Dong Ping roared. That's right. Dong Qin nodded, her voice was extremely hoarse, and there was a trace of a bitter smile on her face. Bastard. You're not even married, why did you give yourself to him? Moreover, he's a scumbag. Dong Ping roared, and he was about to break down. He squeezed Dong Qin's hand even harder, and Dong Qin was already in a state of suffocation. The madman hooked his arm around Dong Tianqian's shoulder and bared his teeth. Brother, if you don't stop it, this woman will be squeezed to death by your brother. Who's your brother? Dong Tianqian slapped away the madman's hand and sneered, this kind of woman deserves to die. Heartless. The madman shook his head. Looking at Dong Qin again. After hearing the news of Dong Hanzong's death, she entered a state of numbness, as if she had lost her soul. Even if she was suffocating, she didn't struggle at all, as if she had lost the motivation to live. Dong Ping's expression was extremely ferocious, and there was an indescribable pain. But gradually, he let go of his hand. Dong Qin was also powerless in the air. Looking down at Dong Qin for a long time, Dong Ping withdrew his gaze and turned to Qin Feiyang. Can you let her go? What? Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. He actually pleaded for Dong Qin. This guy, was he also infatuated? Dong Tianxian couldn't help but frown as he glared at Dong Ping. What did you say? Say it again. Brother. Although she's not worthy of my love, I really don't want to see her die. Dong Ping said in pain. You, what do you want me to say about you? There are so many women in the Central Dynasty, and there are countless more beautiful than her. Why do you like her? You're my brother, can't you be more promising? Dong Tianxian stared at Dong Ping as if he expected better from him. Dong Ping couldn't help but lower his head in shame. If you don't plead for her, I don't care if she lives or dies. But now, she must die. Dong Tianxian said gloomily. He stepped in front of Dong Qin and slammed his palm towards Dong Qin's head, his eyes emitting a shocking killing intent. Chapter 42-76. Even so, Dong Qin did not react at all, as if she did not see it. However, Dong Ping was a little anxious. He quickly grabbed Dong Tianxian's arm and asked, Why do you want to kill her? Because I'm afraid you'll fall deeper and deeper. Besides, we're also involved in Dong Hanzong's death. I'm worried that she might use your feelings for her to take revenge on us in the future. Once a woman wants to take revenge, she's more terrifying than a storm. Dong Tianxian said in a deep voice. She won't. Dong Ping shook his head. She won't? Dong Tianxian was so angry that he laughed and shouted, with her feelings for Dong Hanzong, what can she not do? Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. Dong Tianxian's words could not be ignored. Dong Qin was willing to give up her life for Dong Hanzong, which showed how infatuated she was with Dong Hanzong. Therefore, it was not impossible for her to use Dong Ping's feelings for her to take revenge on Dong Ping and his brother. Dong Ping fell silent. Dong Tianxian pushed Dong Ping away and mercilessly hit him with his palm. Stay your hand. But at this moment, a shout was heard. Qin Feiyang and the others were slightly stunned. They quickly turned around and saw two figures flying through the air like lightning. It was an old man and a young man. The young man with blood-red hair wore a mask on his face and was full of killing intent. The old man was wearing a black robe. His old face was serious and had a trace of indifference. Inner demons? Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. Why would the inner demons come here? Who was the black-robed old man? However, when Dong Tianxian and the others saw the black-robed old man, their faces changed slightly. They quickly went forward and bowed, Greetings, Elder Fu. Elder Fu? Qin Feiyang and the others looked at this scene and became more and more confused. Even Dong Tianxian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian were so courteous to this person. It was obvious that this person's identity was not ordinary. Elder Fu nodded. He sized up Qin Feiyang and the other two and said with a hoarse laugh, You must be the famous Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden Wing Wolf King. Exactly. Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf sent a telepathic message to the inner demons, Little devil, who is this old man? He seems very impressive. Who's the little devil? Can you stop giving me random nicknames? The inner demons were dissatisfied. This person is called Dong Laifu. His background is not ordinary. As for the details, I'll tell you when I have time. Dong Laifu, the white-eyed wolf grumbled. Dong Laifu looked at Qin Feiyang and the others and said with a smile, Heroes indeed come from the young. Even the top 5 prodigies of the Central Dynasty had been defeated by these 3 people. It was obvious that they were not ordinary people. You're too kind. Qin Feiyang put on a fake smile. It looked like he was praising them, but it wasn't sincere at all. Dong Laifu didn't say much. He looked at Dong Tianxian and the others and said, Your teacher is waiting for you at Mount Supreme. Go over immediately. What? Teacher is also in the 4 continents? When did he arrive? Dong Tianchen and the others were shocked, and their faces were filled with respect. Teacher? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were also extremely bewildered. When did Dong Tianchen and the others have a teacher? We just arrived. I heard about your situation, so I immediately asked Lu Yuntian to bring me to you. Luckily, I came in time. Otherwise, you would have made a big mistake. Dong Laifu said. What mistake? A woman like Dong Qin doesn't deserve to die. Dong Tianchen's eyes flashed coldly. A trace of anger appeared in Dong Laifu's eyes as he shouted, "It's not up to you to decide whether Dong Qin deserves to die or not. Take Dong Qin and follow me to Mount Supreme immediately." Dong Tianchen seemed a bit unconvinced. What? You don't even dare to listen to your teacher? Dong Laifu said angrily. I don't dare. Dong Tianchen hurriedly shook his head and said to Dong Ping, "Take her and let's go." But at this moment, the white-eyed wolf looked at the group and said, "Did we let you go again?" Especially when he looked at Dong Laifu, his eyes were filled with mockery. Young man, don't be too arrogant. Dong Laifu looked at the white-eyed wolf and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Sorry, I've always been this arrogant. Unconvinced? Bite me. The white-eyed wolf laughed out loud and didn't hide the disdain in his words at all. Dong Laifu squinted his eyes and said indifferently, "Lu Yuntian, how do you deal with someone as arrogant and despotic as him?" Kill. The inner demons said with a murderous aura. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows and stared at the inner demons. He sneered, "You're just someone who lost to little Qin Zi. Why are you so arrogant?" The inner demons laughed, "But it's more than enough to bully you. Come and try." The white-eyed wolf took a step forward and his aura surged out. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang reached out his hand and stopped the white-eyed wolf. He smiled and said, "Let them go. They're all losers anyway. Why not let them jump around for a few more days?" That's true. The white-eyed wolf nodded and looked at the inner demons. He laughed and said, "If I can beat you up once, I can beat you up a second time and a third time. Then I'll look forward to our next meeting." The inner demons laughed sinisterly. You'd better not look forward to it. The white-eyed wolf smiled coldly and waved his hand. Get out of here before I regret it. Bastard, let's see how long you can be arrogant. The inner demon snorted and opened a space-time passage. The group left one after another. After the passage disappeared, the white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang and Madman and grinned. How was it? My acting skills are superb, aren't they? Qin Feiyang and Madman looked at each other and a playful look flashed in their eyes. They looked at the white-eyed wolf in surprise and asked, "So you were acting? You didn't see it?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned and his face was full of suspicion. No. We thought you were really going to fight with the inner demons. Qin Feiyang shook his head. It seems that my acting skills have reached the point of perfection. You can't see through it. The white-eyed wolf heard Qin Feiyang's words and suddenly laughed proudly. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang and Madman wanted to laugh and their faces turned red. What are you doing? The white-eyed wolf looked at the two and suddenly realized and said angrily, "Are you playing with me? You only realized it now?" Madman shook his head and laughed. What a simple-minded guy. The white-eyed wolf's face was dark. After all this time, it turned out that he was just amusing himself. I'm not joking. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said in a low voice with a serious face, "Do you think Dong Laifu and the others know that Dong Tianchen is under our control?" Madman pondered for a while and said with a frown, "Didn't Dong Laifu say that they just came to the 4 great continents? As long as Big Cousin and the inner demons didn't say anything, then they shouldn't know. Don't worry, Big Cousin and the inner demons definitely won't say anything." The white-eyed wolf waved his hand. Big Cousin and the inner demons definitely know what to do. I'm just a little worried. Who is this so-called teacher? Even Dong Tianxian, a proud and unparalleled genius, is so respectful to him. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. It's useless to think about it. Only the inner demons and Big Cousin can contact us. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. Then let's go to the Black Tortoise world first. I also need to think about the next plan. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed slightly and opened a space-time tunnel, leading the two away without looking back. Mount Supreme. At this moment, the king, the divine king, and the Lord Supreme of the human race were gathered in the conference hall. Right in front of them sat an old man. He had white hair and a white beard, a kind face, and a dragon-headed walking stick next to him. It was golden in color and flashed with divine light. Overall, this person looked like an old grandpa next door. He didn't have any threatening aura at all. However, the monarch and the other two seated below were all trembling with fear at this moment. The old man didn't dare to speak, and they didn't dare to say anything either. The hall was deathly silent. Lu Jiajin was also there, drinking tea silently. Swish. A while later, 6 figures appeared outside the door. It was Dong Laifu, the inner demons, and Dong Tianxian. Dong Laifu stood at the door and looked at the old man sitting above. He bowed and said, "My lord, they're here. Let them in." The old man said. Dong Laifu nodded and retreated to the side. The inner demons was the first to enter the hall. He ignored the old man and directly walked to Lu Jiajin's side and sat down. The old man seemed to be used to such an attitude and ignored them. However, Dong Tianxian and the other two were a little frightened. They looked at each other and carefully walked into the hall. They bowed and said, "Disciples Dong Tianxian, Dong Ping, and Dong Xin greet master." However, Dong Qin stood outside the door in a daze and did not move at all. Dong Laifu said in a low voice, "Dong Qin, why are you still standing here? Quickly go in and greet your master." Dong Qin raised her head and looked at Dong Laifu, then at the old man in the hall. Then, she entered the hall and said listlessly, "Greetings, master." The old man glanced at Dong Qin, then looked at Dong Tianxian and the other two and asked, "Where's Dong Hanzong?" When she heard the name Dong Hanzong, Dong Qin suddenly trembled. She pointed at Dong Tianxian and the other two and said angrily, "Master, it's them. They joined forces with Qin Feiyang and the others to kill Dong Hanzong." When the old man heard this, his expression remained the same, but the atmosphere in the hall had obviously changed. He looked at Dong Tianxian and the other two without saying a word. "Master, please listen to our explanation. We killed Dong Hanzong for a reason. He was the one who schemed against us first." Dong Tianxian hurriedly explained. "How did he scheme against you?" the old man asked. Dong Tianxian and the other two looked at each other and immediately recounted in detail how Dong Hanzong schemed against them. The monarch and the other two, the inner demons, and Lu Jiajin listened in silence. They did not say a word throughout. Dong Laifu, who was standing behind the old man, could not help but frown when he heard this. The old man's expression did not change at all. It was as if he was listening to an extremely normal thing. "That's how it is. Master, tell us, can't we be angry in this situation?" Dong Tianxian said angrily. Chapter 4277. The old man gestured for the three of them to be quiet. He looked at Dong Qin and asked, "Is what they said true?" "I don't know." Dong Qin shook her head. "Dong Qin, you have to have a conscience. You were with Dong Hanzong last night. How can you not know?" Dong Xian glared at Dong Qin. This woman was really obsessed. Dong Qin looked at the three of them and said in a deep voice, "I really don't know. Brother Zong didn't tell me this. I also believe that Brother Zong wouldn't do such a thing." "He wouldn't?" Ha, Dong Ping and I were deceived by him and imprisoned in the spatial divine item. This is something we experienced personally. How can you argue for him? Dong Qin, how long are you going to be confused? Dong Xian shouted angrily. What you hear may be false, but seeing is believing. Dong Qin looked at Dong Xian expressionlessly. Dong Tianqian looked at Dong Xian with killing intent in his eyes. He said telepathically, Dong Ping, did you see that? She's starting to take revenge on us. He should have killed this woman instead of giving Dong Laifu face. Even if his teacher would blame him, he would at most be punished. It was better than being bitten by Dong Qin. Sigh. Dong Ping sighed deeply. It was all his fault. If he hadn't stopped his elder brother would have killed this woman before Dong Laifu arrived. He wouldn't be facing a situation where he couldn't explain himself. The old man looked at Dong Tianqian and the other two and said indifferently, so, this is all your side of the story? Teacher, the three of them were burning with anxiety. It was true that they couldn't prove this matter. When Dong Ping and Dong Xian were controlled by Dong Hanzong, they didn't record it. Although Dong Tianqian knew, he only heard it from Qin Feiyang, Dong Ping, and Dong Xian. He didn't have any evidence. He couldn't let Qin Feiyang and Mu Qing testify. Even if Qin Feiyang and Mu Qing were willing to testify, the old man wouldn't believe them. After all, they were enemies. And Dong Qin's eyes flashed as she looked at Dong Ping and Dong Xian. She asked, just now, you said that it was Feng Zi and Long Chen who came to save you, and that it was Long Chen who used soul-controlling art to break Brother Zong's control over you, right? Yes. The two of them nodded. Since Long Chen's soul-controlling technique can break Brother Zong's control over you, then he can definitely control you. Are you under their control now? And Dong Tianqian. How did you survive after falling into Qin Feiyang's hands? Don't tell me he let you go out of kindness. Dong Qin sneered. There was a hint of resentment in his eyes. These words implied that they were starting to take revenge on Dong Tianqian and the others. Dong Tianqian and the other two didn't dare to answer these questions. What is it? You can't answer my questions? Not only did Qin Feiyang and the others not kill you, but they even helped you deal with Brother Zong. What is the secret behind this? Can you tell me the truth now? Dong Qin shouted. Do you mean that we colluded with Qin Feiyang and the others? Let me tell you, don't make slanderous accusations. Dong Ping glared at Dong Qin. He didn't expect this woman to be so vicious. She didn't know right from wrong and insisted on sophistry. He must have been blind in the past to like this kind of person. Slanderous accusations? Dong Qin laughed angrily. Then you have to give us a reasonable explanation. Dong Ping was burning with anger. He even wanted to hit Dong Qin. What? You want to kill me to silence me? Unfortunately, teacher and Uncle Fu are here now. You don't have the chance. Dong Qin sneered. If I wanted to kill you to silence you, I wouldn't have stopped Big Brother. Dong Ping shook his head. His face was full of disappointment. This time, he finally saw Dong Qin's true colors. Did you stop him? It was you who asked Dong Tianqian to kill me. Don't make irresponsible remarks in front of teacher. Dong Qin snorted coldly. Dong Ping was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. As the saying goes, the evils brought on by oneself are the hardest to bear. He asked for it. If he had killed Dong Qin earlier, all these things wouldn't have happened. You regret it now, right? It's too late to regret. Dong Tianqian sighed. Brother, I'm sorry. Dong Ping lowered his head, regretting it too much. All right, as long as you're awake. Dong Tianqian waved his hand, looked up at the old man, and said, Teacher, since we've already said this, I won't hide it from you anymore. Yes, Dong Ping, Dong Xian, and I have been controlled by them. Teacher, did you hear that? They were jealous that Brother Zong was better than them, so they colluded with Qin Feiyang and the others to attack Brother Zong. Brother Zong died with a grievance. Dong Qin's face was full of sorrow. The old man looked at Dong Qin, Dong Tianchen, and the other two and said, "Tell me your reasons." "There's no other way. I've already fallen into Qin Feiyang's hands." And at that time, Mu Qing saw that Dong Ping and Dong Xian were controlled by Dong Hanzong, so I had to rely on Qin Feiyang's strength to rescue Dong Ping and Dong Xian. So, I had no choice but to swear a blood oath. But I swear that I didn't betray the divine kingdom. Dong Tianchen said sincerely. Dong Xian and I had no other choice. At that time, Long Qin used the soul-controlling technique to help us break Dong Hanzong's control, and then immediately replaced us. Dong Xian and I've had our bodies destroyed, and even our divine souls were damaged, so we had no chance to resist. But at the end of the day, all of this was caused by Dong Hanzong. If he hadn't schemed against us, would we have ended up like this? So, even if you want to punish us now, we won't regret it. Dong Ping and Dong Xian also said. The truth is right in front of us, and you still want to frame Brother Zong? Are you still human? Dong Qin roared. Dong Ping clenched his fists and glared at Dong Qin, and said word by word, "Bitch, believe it or not, I'll kill you. Come on. You even dare to murder Brother Zong, what am I to you?" Dong Qin didn't retreat, instead, she stepped forward and looked at Dong Ping provocatively. You think I don't dare? Dong Ping was so angry that he raised his arm and charged at Dong Qin. Whoosh! But at this moment, Dong Laifu took a step forward and landed in front of Dong Ping. He grabbed Dong Ping's wrist and said angrily, "Don't mess around. Uncle Fu, she's really sowing discord. You have to believe us. Let's not talk about anything else, just based on the family background of Dong Xian and my brother, there's no need to murder Dong Hanzong." Dong Ping was furious. They were the victims, but now it was hard for them to defend themselves. The Lord has his own judgment, Dong Laifu said. Dong Ping looked at the old man, broke free from Dong Laifu's big hand, and turned around angrily and retreated behind Dong Tianchen. Dong Laifu also went behind the old man again. Dong Qin looked at the old man and cried, "Teacher, please do justice for Brother Zong." Dong Ping and the other two would have sympathized with her in the past, but now, they felt disgusted. Birds of a feather flocked together. Dong Hanzong was a despicable person, and Dong Qin was no exception. That was why they were together. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were a pair of dogs. The old man looked at the four of them and fell silent for a while. He then turned to the inner demons and said, "Lu Yuntian, Lu Yunfeng, you've been in the 4 great continents for so long. Don't you have anything to say?" This is their personal grudge. What can we say? Besides, we don't know about this at all, and we're not familiar with them. The inner demons said indifferently. The old man looked at the two of them meaningfully and waved his hand. In that case, you can leave first. The Lord, the Divine King, and Jizun, you can leave first. Leave? The 5 of them were stunned. What was it that they couldn't let them know? Leave! Dong Laifu shouted. Why are you so arrogant? Do you believe that I won't cripple you? The inner demons raised his eyebrows and suddenly stood up, staring at Dong Laifu unkindly. You, Dong Laifu was furious. What about me? Aren't you just a lackey? Don't bare your fangs and brandish your claws in front of me. The inner demon sneered and turned to leave without looking back. Lu Jiajin put down his teacup and looked at Dong Laifu with a smile. He also turned and walked out of the hall. Lord, look, what kind of attitude is this? They're simply lawless. Dong Laifu was trembling with anger. Haven't they always been like this? The old man smiled bitterly. Even he felt a headache when facing the inner demons. The Lord and the other two looked at each other and got up to leave the hall. Close the door, the old man ordered. Yes. The monarch replied respectfully and closed the door. What's going on? The divine king frowned. Who knows? The human race sovereign shrugged. You too, do you know? The Lord looked at the inner demons and Lu Jiajin standing in front and asked through voice transmission. Do I look like I know? The inner demons rolled his eyes. The Lord smiled embarrassedly and said to himself, it seems that the people of the central dynasty really don't trust you. Now. The Lord and the other two already knew the identity of the inner demons and Lu Jiajin, so they were no longer as cautious as before. Sigh. The problem of trust really needs to be solved as soon as possible. Lu Jiajin pondered for a while and suddenly turned to look at the hall. A glint flashed in his eyes and he smiled secretly. The emperor has always trusted this old man. As long as I can gain his trust, it's equivalent to gaining the emperor's trust. What do you plan to do? The Lord asked secretly. The reason why the central dynasty doesn't trust us is because they don't know our origin. In other words, as long as they find out our origin, they will naturally lower their guard against us. Lu Jiajin smiled secretly. The inner demons said through voice transmission, then as Qin Feiyang said, let's put on a show for this old man. I think so. Lu Jiajin nodded and said to the Lord and the other two through voice transmission, you guys stay here and wait for orders. The inner demons and I will contact Qin Feiyang and discuss the specific plan. They originally wanted to put on a show in front of the emperor, but since the emperor wasn't here, they could only use this old man. You guys don't want to stay and wait for their orders? The Lord asked hurriedly. Wait for orders? Do they have the right to do that? The inner demon's face was full of disdain. He immediately rose into the air and left without looking back. Lu Jiajin also smiled faintly and flew into the air like lightning. Looking at the suave back view of the two of them, the monarch and the deity king were filled with envy in their hearts. That was how people should be. They didn't care about anyone. Don't be envious. They have the right to do so. The supreme being of the human race laughed secretly. The Lord and the divine king looked at each other and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Chapter 4278. Black Tortoise Realm. Tea Garden. The fragrance of tea filled the courtyard. Qin Feiyang sat at the stone table, drinking tea and muttering to himself. The madman and the white-eyed wolf each held a wine jar, talking and laughing happily. That was their character. As long as they were with Qin Feiyang, they would never hurt their brain cells and think about those difficult problems. Buzz. Suddenly, the voice transmission stone rang. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He took out the voice transmission stone and checked it. His eyes suddenly lit up. Who is it? The white-eyed wolf and the madman looked at him in confusion. Big cousin. Qin Feiyang smiled and activated the voice transmission stone. Two figures immediately appeared. Little devil, do you want a drink? The white-eyed wolf held the wine jar and shook it at the inner demons. Get lost. The inner demons glared at him. Forget it. The white-eyed wolf raised his head and put on an arrogant posture. You guys really know how to enjoy. Lu Jiajin shook his head and smiled, then said, but now, you guys stop. Go and call Mu Qing. Use the all-seeing eye to see what Dong Tianqian and the others are talking about in the main hall. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang and the other two frowned. Call Mu Qing first. Lu Jiajin said. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a thought, Mu Qing immediately appeared beside him. What are you doing? Can you let them go into seclusion? Mu Qing glared at Qin Feiyang. Ha, Qin Feiyang laughed dryly and said, help look after Dong Tianqian and the others. Mu Qing's face darkened. There was no end to it. She immediately opened the all-seeing eye. What's going on? Qin Feiyang asked. Previously, the teachers of Dong Tianxin and the others chased me, the inner demons, and the monarch out. I wonder what they are plotting. That's why I wanted to show it to Mu Qing. Lu Jiajin said. I see. Qin Feiyang nodded. Look, how bad is your life in the Central Dynasty? If there's a small matter, I'll send you away. The white-eyed wolf looked at the two of them with disdain. Hearing this, even Lu Jiajin felt a burst of anger, let alone the hot-tempered inner demons. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, then looked at the two of them and said, it seems that the problem of trust needs to be solved as soon as possible. This is also the second reason why we sent you a message. Dong Tianxin and the others' teacher is called Dong Qingyuan. According to our inquiries, he is not only the teacher of Dong Tianxin and the others, but also the person in charge of the Death God army under the Emperor. Lu Jiajin said. What? Qin Feiyang and the other two were shocked. The teacher of Dong Tianxin and the others? The person in charge of the Death God army? It can even be said that the Death God army was groomed by Dong Qingyuan. It's not hard to imagine how important and influential he is in the Central Dynasty. Lu Jiajin smiled. Qin Feiyang and the other two nodded, trying to calm down. Dong Qingyuan's status in the Central Dynasty was probably second only to one person and above everyone else. Lu Jiajin continued, as for Dong Laifu, he is Dong Qingyuan's confidant. Because of Dong Qingyuan's backing, he is usually very arrogant. Arrogant? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He looked at the two of them and asked with a smile, did he offend you? He scolded us before. Of course, the inner demons are not people who will suffer losses. They fell out with him on the spot. Lu Jiajin smiled. Awesome. How dare you offend such a big shot? The white-eyed wolf looked at the inner demons and said jokingly. Bullshit, big shot. If not for the fact that I have to investigate the foundation of the Central Dynasty, I would have killed him with a slap. The inner demons was dismissive. He did not take people like Dong Laifu seriously at all. You are right. In front of us, who dares to call himself a big shot? The white-eyed wolf laughed loudly. Lu Jiajin looked at the inner demons and the white-eyed wolf, feeling very helpless. They were people who were not afraid of anything. Fortunately, he could subdue the inner demons. Qin Feiyang could also subdue the white-eyed wolf. Otherwise, there would be a lot of trouble. Dong Qingyuan is deeply trusted by the emperor. So now, as long as we can gain Dong Qingyuan's trust, we can also gain the emperor's trust. Lu Jiajin looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile. What do you plan to do? Qin Feiyang asked. As you said last time, put on a good show for him. Lu Jiajin said. A good show. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and began to ponder. Lu Jiajin said, my initial plan is that you find a remote mountain forest and pretend to be our family. Then we will take him to see you. We are your family. Do you still need to pretend to be us? The white-eyed wolf said at once. Lu Jiajin said helplessly, what I mean is, you pretend to be, needless to say, I already know what you mean. You want us to pretend to be your parents. The white-eyed wolf quickly stopped the two of them and said with a smile, this is easy. I will pretend to be your father. You two unfilial sons, quickly call me father and let me hear it. Lu Jiajin and the inner demons' faces darkened at once. Can't I? Then pretend to be your grandfather? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Wolf pup, do you need to be taught a lesson? The inner demons said angrily. Lu Jiajin also stared at the white-eyed wolf unkindly. No matter what it was, as long as it reached the white-eyed wolf's mouth, it would change its taste. Be serious. Qin Feiyang gave the white-eyed wolf a knock on the head and looked at the inner demons and the big cousin. I have thought of a more perfect plan. Go ahead. The inner demons and Lu Jiajin were stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang expectantly. The plan is still your plan, but don't take the initiative to bring them here. Because if you take the initiative, it will seem a little deliberate. The person who can control the Death God army is definitely not a fool. If you are not careful, you may not be able to eliminate their wariness of you. Instead, it may be counterproductive. Qin Feiyang smiled. Don't take the initiative to bring them there? The inner demons frowned. We have to arrange this. Let them find out by themselves, and then quietly follow you to find us, the so-called parents. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Quickly tell us the details. Hearing this, the two of them were very curious. The first step. In the future, you will often go out late at night and quietly go out. When Dong Qingyuan and the others find out that the two of you always go out in the middle of the night, they will definitely be suspicious and will secretly follow you. In this way, won't it be very natural? The second step is to wait for them to follow you and find us. Then we will work together and put on a good show for them. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Hearing this plan, whether it was the inner demons, Lu Jiajin, the madman, or the white-eyed wolf, they couldn't help but nod. The credibility of this plan was indeed much higher. The white-eyed wolf thought for a moment and asked, then should we pretend to be hidden experts or ordinary people? The madman touched his chin and said narcissistically, with our strength and temperament, will they believe us if we pretend to be ordinary people? The white-eyed wolf's mouth twitched. This damn madman's face was even thicker than his. Indeed, we can't pretend to be ordinary people. After all, Dong Qingyuan is an overlord. He has seen countless people and will easily expose us. Qin Feiyang nodded. Then let's pretend to be hidden experts. We are good at this. As for the details, let's discuss it carefully. For example, who will be your father, who will be your grandfather, who will be your ancestor? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. The inner demons clenched his hands and glared at Qin Feiyang angrily. Can't you send him to heaven with a kick? Are you jealous of my talent? Or are you jealous of my peerless beauty? The white-eyed wolf looked at the inner demons. Why don't you die? The inner demons looked at the white-eyed wolf helplessly. Ahem. The madman coughed and said, but then again, we are now in the Divine Kingdom. The entire Divine Kingdom is under the control of the Overlord of the Divine Kingdom. Whether it is ordinary people or hidden experts, the Overlord of the Divine Kingdom should know them all. Stupid question. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. How am I stupid? You better explain it to me today. The madman raised his eyebrows and glared at the white-eyed wolf. There are so many creatures in the Divine Kingdom. How can the Overlord of the Divine Kingdom know all of them? You can ask little Qin Zi. He is also the Overlord of the Black Tortoise world. Can he know everyone in the Black Tortoise world? Besides, even if the Overlord of the Divine Kingdom knows, the Emperor is not the Overlord of the Divine Kingdom. How can he know? And the Overlord of the Divine Kingdom is now confined in Hades. Can he run back and tell the Emperor? Now tell me, aren't you stupid? The white-eyed wolf chuckled. The madman's expression froze. He stared at the smug white-eyed wolf and really wanted to kick him. Lu Jiajin shook his head and laughed. He looked at Qin Feiyang and the others and said, when I'm with you guys, no matter how tense the situation is, I can relax. No need to thank me. The white-eyed wolf waved his hand and said, if you really want to thank me, then hurry up and take down the fire lotus. The corner of Lu Jiajin's mouth twitched. He said with a dark face, let's discuss the details. A moment later. Mu Qing finally closed the all-seeing eye, but there was no joy on her face. Her brows were tightly knitted together. Qin Feiyang and the others also finished discussing the details. They looked at Mu Qing and asked, what's wrong? Strange. Mu Qing glanced at the few of them and said, what's strange? Everyone's curiosity was piqued. Mu Qing said, they didn't say a word the whole time. Didn't say a word? How is that possible? The inner demons didn't believe it. I also know it's impossible. So I guess they should be communicating secretly. Mu Qing said. Communicating secretly, Qin Feiyang frowned and pondered for a moment. He looked at Mu Qing and said, it seems that they have learned their lesson. They are guarding against you spying on them. Yes. Mu Qing nodded. So, you didn't gain anything at all? The inner demons asked. If they don't say anything, what can I gain? But it's not difficult to find out what they are planning. Just ask Dong Tianxin and the other two. If Dong Tianxin doesn't tell the truth, then let Long Chen do it. Dong Xian and the other two are controlled by the soul-controlling technique. It's too easy to make them talk. Mu Qing said. Makes sense. Qin Feiyang nodded. Lu Jiajin pondered for a while. Suddenly, he patted his head and said, looking at my memory, I almost forgot about this. Dong Tianxin and the other two have already confessed to Dong Qingyuan that they were controlled by you. What? Confessed? The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. You can't blame them. They didn't say this at first. Later, under Dong Qin's coercion, they had no choice but to confess. Lu Jiajin sighed. So, Dong Qin is really taking revenge on them? Qin Feiyang asked. Yes. The three of them are now facing a situation where they can't explain themselves. Lu Jiajin nodded. This woman can't be kept alive, the white-eyed wolf snorted. His eyes flashed coldly. Chapter 4279. It's hard to kill her now. Lu Jiajin shook his head. Indeed. It's all Dong Ping's fault. He can't do anything right. Now that he's seen Dong Qin's true face, he must be regretting it. The white-eyed wolf sneered. He's regretting it now. What a pity. There's no medicine for regret in this world. Lu Jiajin nodded with a smile. Now, I'm impressed by Dong Tianxin. Although he's a typical villain, at least he's smart. He can see through everything. The white-eyed wolf said. You're wrong. The 5 geniuses of the Central Dynasty aren't idiots. The reason Dong Ping made a mistake this time was entirely because of his feelings for Dong Qin. As the saying goes, the onlooker sees the game more clearly than the player. Lu Jiajin smiled faintly. Yes. Everyone nodded. If they were in Dong Ping's shoes, they might not be as rational as him. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled. He looked at Lu Jiajin and the inner demons and said, let's not talk about them for now. We'll act according to the plan. Be careful and don't give yourself away. This plan could only succeed. It couldn't fail. Otherwise, Lu Jiajin and the inner demons wouldn't be able to gain the Emperor's trust and might even expose their identities. Okay. Lu Jiajin and the inner demons nodded and turned off the voice transmission stone. The white-eyed wolf lowered his head and pondered for a while. He looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, if we want to pretend to be hidden experts, do we have to find a small mountain village and ask the villagers to cooperate with us? No need. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. No need? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. It'll save us a lot of trouble if we find a small mountain village. But have you ever thought about why they'll help us? Even if we can bribe them and make them cooperate with us, how can you be sure of their acting skills? If their acting skills aren't good, they'll be exposed. Qin Feiyang smiled. Then what's your opinion? The white-eyed wolf asked. I can't say that it's a brilliant idea. Qin Feiyang shook his head. You have a lot of ideas? The white-eyed wolf continued Qin Feiyang's words and joked. Qin Feiyang was speechless. He shook his head and said, let's go out and find a place as far away as possible. It's best if it's a place where there are very few people. With that, he left the black tortoise world with the white-eyed wolf and the mad scientist. Mu Qing continued to cultivate in seclusion. West Continent. After spending half a day, Qin Feiyang and the other two split up and searched. Finally, they found a remote and inaccessible place. In this place, it was called Blue Sun Mountain. Within a radius of several million miles, there was not a single house. There were very few ferocious beasts in the mountains and they were not very strong. How is this place? On a certain mountain peak. The white-eyed wolf pointed around and laughed proudly. This was the place he had found. Sure. Qin Feiyang and Madman nodded in satisfaction. There were green mountains and clear waters, and the air was fresh. It was a very good place to nourish one's health. Normally, hidden experts would choose to live in a place with a beautiful environment and a quiet atmosphere where no one would disturb them. Suddenly, Madman pointed to a giant mountain peak not far away and laughed. Let's build the house there. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked up. The giant mountain was more than 10,000 feet tall and had verdant vegetation. A clear stream snaked down from the top of the mountain and reached the river below. The place that Madman pointed to was halfway up the mountain. Halfway up the mountain, there was a pond about 10 meters wide and the stream flowed. There were some wild aquatic plants, lotus leaves, and other plants floating on the water surface. There were also lotus flowers that were budding. On both sides of the pond, there was a very large stone platform that was enough to accommodate a dozen small wooden buildings. I think it's okay. Then let's do it. The white-eyed wolf said. Immediately, the three of them began to build the small wooden buildings on the mountainside. In less than an hour, 5 small wooden buildings rose from the ground. The three of them built a tea garden, an orchard, a flower garden and so on next to the small wooden buildings. Of course, the scale of the tea garden, orchard and flower garden was definitely not big. After all, the space was limited. The white-eyed wolf went to the black tortoise world on a whim and caught a lot of small fish and put them in the pond next to it. It really looks like it. In the end, the three of them stood in the air and looked at the small mountain village halfway up the mountain with a satisfied smile on their faces. The environment was beautiful, peaceful, everything seemed simple and plain. Madman laughed. To be honest, I really want to live here and retire. Qin Feiyang nodded. Everyone lived in such a place, drinking tea, basking in the sun, chatting, looking at the scenery, and accompanying their family and friends. This kind of life was very comfortable. Don't worry, there will be a chance in the future. The white-eyed wolf laughed. After working hard for so many years, whether it was Qin Feiyang, the madman and the white-eyed wolf, they were already very tired in their hearts. It was just that there were too many helplessness in this world, and they had no choice but to continue walking. Qin Feiyang looked at the few small wooden buildings and muttered, however, it seems that there is still something missing. What is it? The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, then suddenly patted his head and said, It's too new. New? The two of them were taken aback and looked up. It was true. Everything was new. It definitely didn't make sense. It has to be weathered by wind and rain. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly and directly set up a time array halfway up the mountain. A time array of 5,000 years a day could make the house quickly weathered. As long as it weathered, the new side would disappear. There is still one more problem. Although there are very few beasts in this Blue Sun Mountain, it's not like there are none. They have lived in Blue Sun Mountain for so long, so they must be very familiar with the situation here. If Dong Qingyuan goes to ask these beasts, won't he reveal a flaw? The white-eyed wolf said. That's simple. Kill all the beasts in Blue Sun Mountain and replace them with the beasts in our Black Tortoise world. The beasts in the Black Tortoise world definitely won't betray us. The madman laughed. Don't kill randomly. Qin Feiyang quickly waved his hand, pondered for a while, and said with a smile, Send all the beasts in Blue Sun Mountain to the Black Tortoise world. Anyway, they are not strong, so there is no need to worry about them disturbing the order of the Black Tortoise world. Damn, you have become so benevolent now? The madman looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. In this life, we have killed enough. In the future, we will try to avoid it as much as possible. It can be considered as accumulating merit for our future children and grandchildren. After all, this wife of mine has long wanted a child. Qin Feiyang smiled. That's true. The madman nodded. Not for himself, but for his children and grandchildren. Then, the three of them took action and sent all the beasts in Blue Sun Mountain into the Black Tortoise world. Then, Qin Feiyang personally entered the Black Tortoise world to find the beasts there for help. In the Black Tortoise world, whether it was humans or beasts, they were all dead loyal to Qin Feiyang. After all, Qin Feiyang's sacrifice for the Black Tortoise world was obvious to all. After the arrangements were made, the three of them began to arrange the furniture. This thing was even simpler, they could just take it from the Black Tortoise world. After everything was arranged, Qin Feiyang and the other two informed Lu Jiajin and the inner demons of the location and coordinates. Then, they took out 3 bamboo rattan chairs and a wooden, old tea table and placed them by the pond. Next, the three of them lay on the rattan chairs, drinking tea, chatting, and basking in the sun, enjoying this rare leisure. Late at night. 5,000 years in a day, it had already been more than 2,000 years in the time array. After more than 2,000 years, the new traces had disappeared. It looked extremely old and could even be called an antique. Swish. 2 figures descended. It was the inner demons and Lu Jiajin. Not bad. Looking at the small mountain village in front of them, a smile appeared on both of their faces. Especially under the hazy moonlight, this small mountain village seemed particularly peaceful. Since we're here, we'll go back tomorrow morning. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Okay. It's easier to attract Dong Qingyuan and Dong Laifu's attention this way. Lu Jiajin nodded. That night, the 5 of them sat under the moonlight and chatted a lot. There was the past and the future dreams. Before dawn, the inner demons and Lu Jiajin left. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 immediately got into character. Because they didn't know when Dong Qingyuan would follow them, they had to be in character at all times. In order to make it more realistic, Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf all invited their wives, which were the mermaid princess, fire dance, and Zhuo Shaoxian. 5 small wooden buildings were just enough for them. Qin Feiyang and his wife lived in one building. The madman and Zhuo Shaoxian lived in the same building. The white-eyed wolf and fire dance lived in the same building. The remaining 2 small wooden buildings naturally belonged to the inner demons and Lu Jiajin. And the roles they played were the inner demons and Lu Jiajin's parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. The white-eyed wolf, this bastard, not only wanted to take advantage of the inner demons and Lu Jiajin, but he also wanted to take advantage of Qin Feiyang and the madman, competing to play the role of great-grandfather. The madman didn't want to be outdone and directly took the role of grandfather. Qin Feiyang was helpless and could only play the role of father. The plan was carried out step by step just like that, waiting for the fish to take the bait. The inner demons and Lu Jiajin basically came every 2 days. And they always chose to come late at night. Finally, on the 4th visit, Dong Laifu noticed something strange. What? They often sneak out in the middle of the night? When did it start? When Dong Qingyuan heard about this, he couldn't help but frown. I don't know when it started, but I paid special attention these 2 times. Every time, they went out late at night and came back before dawn. Dong Laifu shook his head. Dong Qingyuan pondered for a while and said, from now on, don't do anything. Just focus on monitoring them. You're suspecting them? Dong Laifu asked. How can such abnormal behavior not arouse suspicion? Moreover, their origins are unknown. Dong Qingyuan said. Yes. Dong Laifu replied respectfully. No matter how suspicious they were, they would never suspect that the inner demons and Lu Jiajin were from Great Qin. And they would never think that they were involved with Qin Feiyang and the others. This was because the inner demons and Lu Jiajin entered the Divine Kingdom more than 1,000 years ago. At that time, the Divine Kingdom and the Sky Cloud Realm hadn't been connected yet. Without the connection of the Divine Kingdom's gate, in their opinion, it was impossible for anyone to sneak into their Divine Kingdom from another world. So, even if they were suspicious, at most, they would only wonder whose son these two were. They were so monstrous. Chapter 4280. In the blink of an eye. Half a month passed. This time, Lu Jiajin and the inner demons came 5 days later. They couldn't always be 2 days apart. That would seem too deliberate. If they wanted to bait the other party, they had to be natural. And this time, before Lu Jiajin and the inner demons came, they specially went to buy some divine wine and tea. Since they were going to visit the elders, they naturally had to show some filial piety. That was more realistic. Dong Laifu followed them all the way. What's going on? After buying the divine wine and tea, who are they going to visit? Looking at the series of actions of the inner demons and Lu Jiajin, Dong Laifu was very puzzled. He thought that he hid well, but little did he know that the inner demons and Lu Jiajin had already discovered that he was following them. All of this was done specially for him. Finally, Dong Laifu followed the inner demons and came to Qingyang Mountain. When he saw the small mountain village halfway up the mountain, he was immediately stunned. There were actually people in such a remote place? Did these two brothers come to visit the people in this small mountain village? All of a sudden, he was full of curiosity. What kind of person could make these two arrogant fellows respect him so much? So, with the help of the space divine object, he quietly sneaked over. Coming. Under the night sky. In front of the courtyard, Qin Feiyang and the other two sat together drinking tea. The mermaid princess and the other two were also sitting on the side. The inner demons nodded, glanced at the void behind without leaving a trace, and braced himself to look at Qin Feiyang and the other two, and said with a smile, "Father, Grandpa, Great-Grandpa, this is for you." He really couldn't say it, but there was no other way. Dong Laifu was secretly watching. At the same time, hearing the name inner demons, Qin Feiyang and the others were shocked. If the inner demons called them that, it meant that the fish had taken the bait. The white-eyed wolf took the divine wine and laughed with a ruddy face. "My good grandson is really filial. Every time you come, you bring such divine wine for Great-Grandpa. Don't push your luck." The inner demons roared furiously. "If I don't say that, what else can I say?" The white-eyed wolf secretly smiled proudly. He opened the wine jar and impatiently drank a mouthful. "You old man, can't you drink less?" Fire Dance sat at the side and glared at the white-eyed wolf. Both of them looked like they were in their 70s or 80s. Their hair was white, and their faces were full of wrinkles. "Old woman, we're already so old. Can't you care less about me? We'll talk about it later. Both of our little grandsons are so promising. I'm so happy." White-eyed wolf looked at Fire Dance with dissatisfaction. Then, he turned to Madman, Qin Feiyang, Mermaid Princess, and Zhuo Shaoxian and asked, "Son, daughter-in-law, grandson, granddaughter-in-law, don't you agree? You don't have to call them all." The madman glared at him angrily. He was really addicted to taking advantage of others. "Someone is watching," White-eyed wolf said telepathically. Madman nodded helplessly and said, "You're the head of the family. Whatever you say." "Did you see that? My son is so sensible. Son, I'll give you a jar." White-eyed wolf laughed, grabbed an altar, and threw it to Madman. "Thank you, father." Madman gritted his teeth. If he had known, he would have pretended to be his brother. Why would he pretend to be his son or grandson? Wasn't that just asking for trouble? Why are you thanking me? White-eyed wolf waved his hand and pointed at Lu Jiajin and Zhuo Shaoxian. They bought this wine. If you want to thank someone, thank your two promising grandsons. Lu Jiajin and inner demons were about to collapse. So this is their home. Dong Laifu looked at this scene in astonishment. Father, mother, grandparents, great-grandparents, 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 these 4 generations living together. Qin Feiyang coughed and looked at inner demons and said, Son, last time you said that Dong Qingyuan. Inner demon's face darkened, but it was quite easy to call him that. Yes, yes, yes. Dong Qingyuan. Did he make things difficult for you? Qin Feiyang asked. He dares. If he dares to make things difficult for my little grandson, I'll destroy him. White-eyed wolf suddenly roared. Hearing White-eyed wolf's words, Dong Laifu was shocked. So arrogant? Wait a minute. He carefully looked at Qin Feiyang and the others. None of them had any aura on them, and they looked like ordinary people. Previously, it was precisely because he didn't feel that Qin Feiyang and the others exuded a powerful aura that Dong Laifu thought that Qin Feiyang and the others were just ordinary people living in the countryside. But now, after careful observation, he found that these people's temperament was faintly extraordinary. Gradually, he even felt an invisible sense of oppression. His pupils constricted involuntarily. He should have known. How could they be ordinary people if they could raise geniuses like Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng? Inner demons glanced at White-eyed wolf and said proudly, Does he dare to bully us? I don't think he's a threat at all. You can't say that. Qin Feiyang quickly stopped him. What can I say? White-eyed wolf glared at Qin Feiyang and said, The descendants of the Lu family should be so domineering. Well, Grandpa, Qin Feiyang looked at White-eyed wolf and sighed. Dong Qingyuan is from the Central Dynasty after all. We have to give him face. What do you mean? Is face given by others? Is that what I taught you before? You have to fight for your own face. White-eyed wolf said angrily. Yes, yes, yes. Don't be angry. Qin Feiyang quickly waved his hand. Why should I be angry at my old age? White-eyed wolf snorted and looked at inner demons and asked, Do they know about us? They don't. We've never mentioned you to them. Inner demons shook his head. That's right. Since you're going out, you have to rely on your own abilities. In short, as long as you step out of this house, we won't care about you anymore. We'll talk about it later. I've always liked to keep a low profile. I don't want to be disturbed. White-eyed wolf said. Understood. Inner demons nodded. So that's how it is. Dong Laifu suddenly understood. So the reason why Lu Yunfeng and Lu Yuntian never mentioned his family was because of the old master's orders. He left quietly without anyone noticing. After a while, he came out of the space divine item and entered a forest. In the forest, several beasts were dozing. He found one of the ferocious beasts. His eyes flashed slightly, and he landed in front of it. Roar! The beast was suddenly awakened and stared at Dong Laifu fiercely. Shoo! Dong Laifu made a shushing gesture and whispered, If you dare to roar again, I'll kill you. The beast immediately showed a look of horror. Let me ask you. How many years have the people halfway up the mountain lived here? Dong Laifu asked. Who are you? Why are you asking this? The beast was surprised. Just answer when I ask you to answer. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Killing intent flashed in Dong Laifu's eyes. The beast shrank its neck and hurriedly said, They have lived here for many years. Many years? Dong Laifu was taken aback. I don't know how many years it has been. Anyway, when I was born, they were already living here. But because they keep a low profile and have a kind personality, the beasts in our Qingyang mountain area like them very much. Sometimes, we even run to play with them. The beast said. What about their strength? Dong Laifu asked. Their strength, the beast pondered for a while and shook its head. I don't know. I have never seen them fight before. They look a bit like ordinary humans, but they are definitely not. Why? Dong Laifu was curious. Think about it. Can ordinary people live for so long? The beast said. That's true. Dong Laifu smiled embarrassedly and turned his head to look at the mountainside. He looked at the beast and said, I'm their friend and I'm going to give them a surprise. So when you meet them in the future, don't tell them that I have been to Qingyang Mountain. So you're their friend. I was wondering why your aura is so strong. The beast smiled and immediately relaxed its vigilance. Dong Laifu chuckled, opened a space-time tunnel, and turned to leave. Do you think I'm a fool? Friends? One look and I know you're not a good person. I have to hurry and inform the Lord. The beast looked at Dong Laifu's back in disdain. When the teleportation tunnel disappeared, it immediately flew to the mountainside. They are going to visit their family? Mount Supreme. In a hall. Dong Qingyuan looked at Dong Laifu who was standing below in shock. That's right. And it's 4 generations in the same hall. Dong Laifu smiled hoarsely. It's really a bit surprising. Dong Qingyuan shook his head and smiled bitterly. He thought that these 2 brothers were doing something shady, but it turned out that they were just going back to show filial piety to their elders. Dong Laifu said, I have also inquired the beasts in Qingyang Mountain. There is indeed no problem with their identity. It's good that there is no problem. Because if there is no problem, we can put these 2 brothers in an important position. Dong Qingyuan smiled slightly. Dong Laifu nodded. However, they are too low-key. To be able to cultivate 2 peerless geniuses, it proves that their strength isn't weak. Such people shouldn't be so unknown. Dong Qingyuan frowned. This family is relatively low-key. Moreover, everyone's pursuit is different. Some people like power, some like wealth, but there are also many people who are indifferent to fame and fortune and prefer a plain life. Dong Laifu smiled. Makes sense. It seems that they are the so-called hidden experts. Go and prepare some gifts. After dawn, I will personally visit them. Dong Qingyuan ordered. You still want to visit them? Dong Laifu was stunned. This is a bit of a fuss. We definitely have to visit them. After all, Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng are deeply loved by the emperor. Dong Qingyuan said. Dong Laifu nodded and then asked, then what gifts should we prepare? Shouldn't you ask yourself this? You have followed Lu Yuntian and the others for so long, don't you know what they like? Dong Qingyuan was speechless. Dong Laifu was stunned. After pondering for a while, his eyes lit up and he said with a smile, they should like wine and tea because brother Lu Yuntian went back to visit them and gave them divine brew and divine tea. Divine brew, divine tea, Dong Qingyuan pondered and said, isn't this a bit too vulgar? Chapter 4281. Then what do you think is appropriate? Dong Laifu asked. Epitome of laws? Inheritance of laws? Or a dominator divine weapon? Dong Qingyuan lowered his head and murmured. Dong Laifu smiled wryly and said, my lord, these gifts are even more vulgar. Huh? Dong Qingyuan looked at him in confusion. Do you know what a reclusive master is? A reclusive master is indifferent to fame and fortune. They don't care about worldly possessions. These things are even worse than dirt in their eyes. Dong Laifu said. That's true. Dong Qingyuan nodded. So, I still think we should give them tea and wine. That's also what they like. If we give them other things, they might be dissatisfied. Dong Laifu smiled. Dong Qingyuan thought for a while and felt that it made sense. He waved his hand and said, okay, you go and make the arrangements. Okay. Dong Lifu nodded and quickly left. I didn't expect that after all the investigation, this is the only thing we found. Dong Qingyuan shook his head and smiled. The sky gradually brightened. The inner demons and Lu Jiajin washed up and left through the portal. Qin Feiyang, the mad scientist, and the white-eyed wolf sat in the yard, making a cup of tea and watching the sunrise. The mermaid princess and the other two were making breakfast in the house. The sun slowly rose. Everything was waking up. You three old men, it's time to eat. Zhuo Xiaoxian walked out and stared at Qin Feiyang and the other three. They still looked the same as last night. And they had to keep this appearance in the future. Because Dong Qingyuan already knew that they lived here and could come to them at any time. Once they returned to their original appearance, wouldn't their identities be exposed? Breakfast was very simple and bland, but everyone enjoyed it. How nice it would be if it could stay like this. The mermaid princess sat next to Qin Feiyang and looked at the beautiful mountains and rivers. Her pursuit was simpler than Qin Feiyang's. Find a quiet place to be with the person she loved, hold his hand, and grow old together. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but turn to look at the woman he loved and owed. What's wrong? The mermaid princess was puzzled. When we got married, I said I would make you happy for the rest of your life. But now, I can't even give you a basic stable life. Qin Feiyang sighed, his face was filled with guilt. Isn't our life now a stable life? The mermaid princess smiled faintly. Stable? Qin Feiyang asked himself. Although he had always been with the mermaid princess, they didn't have much time. Or they were busy outside. Otherwise, they would be cultivating in seclusion. Unknowingly, he held the mermaid princess' hand tightly. He silently said in his heart, after dealing with everything in the kingdom of God, no matter how big the matter is, I won't ask about it anymore. I must give my beloved woman a stable home and spend the rest of my life with her. Suddenly, the power of spacetime law appeared in the void in front of them. Qin Feiyang and the others raised their heads to look, and their eyes revealed a trace of bewilderment. Soon, a spacetime passage appeared and two auras came out. Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and smiled. They came really fast. They had never seen Dong Qingyuan in person, so they didn't know his aura. But they had seen Dong Lifu once, so they were familiar with his aura. One of them was Dong Lifu. Needless to say, the other unfamiliar aura was definitely Dong Qingyuan. Let's get ready to welcome these two guests. Qin Feiyang smiled secretly. Before he could finish his sentence, two figures walked out of the passage and entered their line of sight. Who else could it be but Dong Lifu and Dong Qingyuan? Dong Qingyuan was holding a golden walking stick in his hand. He walked unsteadily as if he would fall if the wind blew, but his eyes were full of energy. Dong Lifu was holding two gift boxes in his hands. As soon as Dong Qingyuan appeared, he glanced at the mountains below. It was indeed a good place to live in seclusion. My lord, they are there. Dong Lifu looked at Qin Feiyang and the others halfway up the mountain and said in a low voice. He had heard of it. Dong Qingyuan retracted his gaze and turned to look at the mountainside. Qin Feiyang and the others were also looking at the two of them suspiciously. There was no aura on them. They were even more ordinary than ordinary people. Dong Qingyuan strode towards the mountainside. Dong Lifu followed closely behind him. Who are you? What are you doing in our small mountain village? Qin Feiyang stood up and looked at the two of them and asked warily. Dong Qingyuan landed on the edge of the cliff and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. We are here to visit you. Visit us? Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned and asked suspiciously, do we know each other? No. Dong Qingyuan shook his head. If you don't know each other, why are you visiting us? Qin Feiyang looked puzzled. Dong Lifu looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, although we don't know each other, we know your two children. You know my two children? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in confusion, what children? Dong Laifu said with a smile, Brother Lu, don't joke. Aren't you Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng's father? You, Qin Feiyang's face changed. Madman and the others also stood up. Don't misunderstand, don't misunderstand. Dong Laifu hurriedly waved his hand and said, we don't mean any harm. To be honest, we are from the Central Dynasty. My name is Dong Laifu, and this is my master, Dong Qingyuan. Dong Qingyuan? Qin Feiyang and the others looked at Dong Qingyuan in a daze. Dong Qingyuan had a kind face and looked like an old grandpa next door. Madman came back to his senses and turned to the white-eyed wolf and asked, he's the person Yuntian and Yunfeng talked about last night? They did talk about Dong Qingyuan last night. But I don't know if it's true or not. But I don't think anyone dares to pretend to be from the Central Dynasty. The white-eyed wolf frowned. Of course no one dares to pretend to be from the Central Dynasty. I'm the teacher of Dong Qingyuan and Dong Tianqian. Dong Qingyuan said with a smile. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Qingyuan for a moment and said, so it's a big shot. Sorry for the disrespect. No, no. Dong Qingyuan hurriedly waved his hand. What's wrong with these two bastards? I just told them not to mention us last night. Why are they here today? When they come back, I'll beat their butts. The white-eyed wolf muttered angrily. When Dong Qingyuan heard this, he hurriedly looked at the white-eyed wolf and said respectfully, don't be angry. Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng didn't tell us this. Huh? They didn't tell you? Then how did you know we live here? The white-eyed wolf frowned. To be honest, we followed them here. Dong Qingyuan smiled awkwardly. Followed? When Qin Feiyang and the others heard this, their expressions immediately became unfriendly. Calm down, calm down. Actually, it's like this. During this period, we accidentally found that the two brothers often sneaked out in the middle of the night. We thought they might have encountered some trouble. So I asked Lai Fu to follow them secretly and see if he could help them. In the end, we didn't expect that they came back to visit you elders. Dong Qingyuan said with a smile. This old man was too good at talking. He could even find such a perfect excuse to spy on them. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. You don't know that these two brats are very tight-lipped. In these years in the Central Dynasty, we repeatedly asked them about their identity, but they never said a word about their background. If it weren't for this accident, I'm afraid we'd never know that they have relatives like you. That's why we came uninvited. If we offended you in any way, I hope you can forgive us. Dong Laifu also explained. There's nothing to be offended about. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said with a smile, these two brats must have caused you trouble. No. Everything else is fine, but they're a little arrogant. Dong Qingyuan waved his hand. It's all because their mother spoiled them. Qin Feiyang sighed. Who doesn't love their own children? Besides, they're already very outstanding, okay? The mermaid princess added appropriately and looked at Qin Feiyang with dissatisfaction. Yes, yes, yes. Qin Feiyang nodded repeatedly, looking like a typical henpecked husband. These two brats are indeed outstanding. Dong Qingyuan nodded with a smile and said to Dong Laifu, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and give the gifts to them. Dong Laifu quickly nodded and walked up to Qin Feiyang. He handed the two gift boxes in his hand to Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, it's just a small token of our appreciation. Please accept it. How could we accept it? You helped us take care of our children. We should be thanking you. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand. Don't say that. We also treat Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng as our own children, so we're also a family. It's our duty to take care of them. Let's talk about it later. We have to thank you for cultivating two outstanding talents for our divine kingdom. You may not know this, but they're top geniuses even in the Central Dynasty. Dong Qingyuan smiled. What talents? I think they're more like idiots. They don't even know they're being followed. The white-eyed wolf snorted. Ha! Hearing this, Dong Qingyuan and Dong Laifu laughed dryly. This old man was too petty. He still hadn't gotten over following Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. In order to change the topic, Dong Laifu quickly stuffed the gift into Qin Feiyang's hand. What's this? Open it and let me see. The white-eyed wolf glanced at him and said. Old man, you're getting more and more muddle-headed. How can you open a gift in front of others? The white-haired old woman, Fire Dance, stared at the white-eyed wolf and said. It's okay. We're family. No need to be so polite. Dong Qingyuan smiled. Qin Feiyang and the others were speechless. They're family already? This old man really doesn't know what estrangement is. Chapter 4282. Did you hear that? He said there's no need to be so polite. Why are you still being so polite? The white-eyed wolf opened one of the gift boxes with great interest. Immediately, he was stunned. These were 5 exquisite clay pots, the size of an adult's fist. They were as white as clouds and emitted a hazy luster. What's this? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Open it and you'll know. Dong Laifu smiled. Dong Qingyuan also had some expectations in his eyes. Would these people be satisfied with this gift? The white-eyed wolf opened the clay pot suspiciously. A burst of tea fragrance suddenly came to his nose. Tea leaves? The white-eyed wolf was slightly stunned and looked down at the clay pot. It was full of tea leaves, each of which was golden like a golden leaf, shining with divine light. At first glance, he knew that it was not an ordinary tea. However, the white-eyed wolf was not interested. Divine tea? Humph. No matter how high the quality of the divine tea was, he was not interested. Dong Qingyuan and Dong Laifu looked at each other, looking at this gift. However, when they noticed the look on Qin Feiyang's face, they immediately smiled. Because Qin Feiyang was looking at the tea leaves with great interest. It seemed that someone liked it. Qin Feiyang stepped forward, took the teapot from the white-eyed wolf, took out a tea leaf, put it to the tip of his nose, and smelled it. His eyes suddenly lit up. This was a top-grade divine tea. How generous. He did not expect Dong Qingyuan to give such a valuable gift. However, immediately after, he was stunned. Why did this tea leaf look a little familiar? What's wrong? Dong Laifu saw the change in Qin Feiyang's expression and asked nervously. Qin Feiyang suddenly showed a look of realization. He had seen this tea leaf before, and he also had it. It was the tea leaves from Master Ji Jiao's tea garden. Is it a coincidence? Qin Feiyang frowned and opened the other 4 teapots. As a result, the tea leaves in these 4 pots were also seen in Master Ji Jiao's tea garden. It couldn't be so coincidental. Therefore, it was obvious that these were the tea leaves that Dong Qingyuan had asked 9th Master Ji for. Presenting Buddha with borrowed flowers, he really knew how to have fun. However, it was indeed not easy for 9th Master Ji to take out 5 jars of tea leaves at once. He knew Master Ji Jiao's character too well. Tea was his lifeblood. Dong Laifu looked at the frowning Qin Feiyang and said, Brother Lu, if you are not satisfied, no. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand. His brows relaxed and he smiled. I just find it unbelievable that they are all top-grade divine teas. This gift is too valuable. I don't deserve it. I don't dare to accept it. I see. I thought Brother Lu didn't like it. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We're all family, so there's no need to stand on ceremony. Dong Laifu chuckled. He had no choice but to accept that they were all old foxes who knew how to put on a show. In that case, Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Laifu and Dong Qingyuan and said with a smile, "Then I'll accept it. Thank you for your generous gift. Please take a seat." His attitude suddenly became enthusiastic. He didn't care much about these 5 jars of tea leaves. After all, there were even tea trees, so he definitely wouldn't care about some tea leaves. However, this was a greeting gift from the other party. There was a saying that one would not hit a smiling person. Besides, even if he was familiar with these tea leaves, he had to pretend that he didn't know them. Otherwise, his relationship with Ninth Master Ji and the others would arouse Dong Qingyuan's suspicion. Dong Qingyuan chuckled and walked to the tea table and sat down. Dong Laifu stood behind Dong Qingyuan and looked at the white-eyed wolf with a smile. "There's another gift that you should like." The white-eyed wolf opened the other gift box suspiciously and was stunned again. There was actually an interspatial ring in this big gift box. What a joke. Who would give an interspatial ring as a gift? Who would lack an interspatial ring at this level? The gift is in the interspatial ring. Dong Laifu said with a smile. The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He grabbed the interspatial ring and lowered his head to check. Immediately, he was shocked. It was filled to the brim with divine wine. There were at least tens of thousands of jars. "What's this?" Lunatic was curious. "What does it have to do with you?" The white-eyed wolf glared at him and quickly put away the interspatial ring, not giving Lunatic any chance to snatch it. Lunatic's face darkened. If there were benefits, he should share it with everyone. How could he eat it alone? Haha. Dong Qingyuan and Dong Laifu laughed hoarsely. Sure enough, they gave the right gift. If they gave the law miniature, inheritance, or dominator divine weapon, these people might not be tempted. "Please have some tea." Qin Feiyang brewed a pot of tea and poured a cup for Dong Qingyuan. Of course. Now he was only soaking in Longjing tea. The tea leaves in Ninth Master Ji's tea garden couldn't be taken out. "Thank you." Dong Qingyuan chuckled and took a sip of tea. He nodded and said, "It's not bad. Although it's not divine tea, it has a different flavor when tasted carefully. It's good that you like it. I was worried that you, a big shot of the Central Dynasty, wouldn't be used to this kind of ordinary tea." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. "Don't call me big shot. It sounds too distant. Brother Lu, if you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother." Dong Qingyuan waved his hand and smiled. Yes, yes, yes. That's more intimate." The white-eyed wolf nodded. His attitude was completely different from before. Dong Qingyuan laughed happily and looked at Qin Feiyang. "It seems that this old man of your family is also a sentimental person." Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh. Old man? If Dong Qingyuan knew that the old man in his eyes was actually the white-eyed wolf, who knew what he would think? However, I have a question in my mind. Why have you been living in seclusion here? Dong Qingyuan looked at them suspiciously. Finally, we're getting to the point. Qin Feiyang laughed secretly. Did he really think that Dong Qingyuan was here to visit them? No. He was here to find out about them. Well, actually, there's no special reason. We just like peace and quiet. Moreover, for us, fame and fortune are not important. The happiest thing is to get together as a family and live a peaceful life. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. I see. Dong Qingyuan smiled and said with admiration, your state of mind is really admirable. We're just country bumpkins. What's there to admire? Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said with a smile. No, no, no. There are not many people in the world who are indifferent to fame and fortune. For example, I can't do that. Dong Qingyuan shook his head. It can only be said that everyone has different pursuits. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Yes. Dong Qingyuan nodded and said with a smile, "As for country bumpkins, Brother Lu, you're belittling yourself. If you were really country bumpkins, would you be able to cultivate such outstanding descendants?" Qin Feiyang quickly waved his hand and said, "Yun Tian and Yun Feng have achieved what they have today because of their own efforts. It has nothing to do with us." "You can't say that. Without a good cultivation environment, even the best talent will be in vain." Dong Qingyuan shook his head. In fact, after talking for so long, he was just trying to find out the strength of Qin Feiyang and the others. That's true. These two children are indeed talented, but they're a little disobedient. For example, more than 1,000 years ago, we forbade them to go out and train, but they didn't listen. In the middle of the night, when we were all asleep, they sneaked out. I didn't expect them to go to the Central Dynasty. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. He looked as if he expected better from them. "Brother Lu, I have to disagree with that. Young people should go out and explore. They should show their worth. If we keep them by our side, they'll never grow up." Dong Qingyuan said. "That's true. So, we didn't care about them after that. As long as they don't do anything outrageous, let them be." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Dong Qingyuan said in a hoarse voice, "Although they're arrogant, I believe in my judgment. They won't do anything outrageous." "That's good." Qin Feiyang nodded. Dong Qingyuan's eyes flashed, and he asked, "Recently, there's a young man called Qin Feiyang who's been making a lot of trouble. Have you heard of him?" Qin Feiyang? The few of them were stunned. Dong Qingyuan said with a smile, "Don't tell me you don't know him at all. I know a thing or two. I heard that this Qin Feiyang came from the sky cloud realm. And he seems to be the daughter of the monarch, the descendant of Ji Tianyue." Qin Feiyang thought. Yes. Not only is he the descendant of Ji Tianyue, but he also has the purple gold dragon blood. And he has mastered the law of life and death, the 3,000 incarnations, the eye of heaven, and other heaven-defying means. He's caused a lot of trouble in our divine kingdom. Dong Qingyuan sighed. He's that powerful? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Yes. Our 4 great continents and 5 great races have suffered losses in his hands. Moreover, the people sent by the Central Dynasty have also died in his hands. This time, I personally came to the 4 great continents to deal with him. Dong Qingyuan said. I didn't expect that the sky cloud realm could give birth to such a powerful young man. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. The sky cloud realm is just a small place. It's really surprising that it could cultivate such an outstanding young man. The few of you are all hidden experts. Could you help me get rid of these scourges? Dong Qingyuan looked at Qin Feiyang and the others expectantly. I'm really sorry. As a member of the Divine Kingdom, it's our duty to help when the Divine Kingdom is in trouble. However, with our strength, we really can't help much. However, I believe that Yuntian and Yunfeng won't sit back and do nothing. We will also support them to defend the dignity of the Divine Kingdom and protect the people of the Divine Kingdom. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. You are indeed very righteous. On behalf of the monarch and the millions of people of the Divine Kingdom, I thank you in advance. Dong Qingyuan cupped his hands and smiled. In fact, he was very disappointed. He said this because he wanted to find out the strength of Qin Feiyang and the others. However, this group of people didn't give him the slightest chance. They just casually dismissed him with a sentence. Chapter 4283. Dong Laifu looked at Dong Qingyuan and smiled. Master, what do you think of this place? Huh? Dong Qingyuan looked at him suspiciously. Dong Laifu said, how is the environment of Qingyang Mountain compared to Mount Supreme? Dong Qingyuan smiled and looked around. Mount Supreme definitely can't compare to this place. In that case, why don't we stay here from now on? Dong Laifu looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. I wonder if Brother Lu will welcome us. Huh? Qin Feiyang was stunned. The frenzy and the white-eyed wolf also looked at Dong Laifu in shock. What does he mean? He's still relying on us? Dong Qingyuan's eyes flashed as he looked at Dong Laifu and said, "This isn't appropriate. If such a paradise is destroyed because of our arrival, wouldn't we become sinners? It's not that serious." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. "So, Brother Lu agrees to let us stay?" Dong Laifu took advantage of the situation and asked. This, Qin Feiyang looked a little troubled. He pointed at the white-eyed wolf and said, "I really can't make the decision. I still need the old man's approval." Dong Laifu looked at the white-eyed wolf again. "Logically speaking, since we accepted our precious gift, we should indeed act as hosts, but we don't have any extra places to stay here. Besides, you guys are living well in Mount Supreme. If you suddenly move to our place, what will the human race's Supreme think? So, this old man thinks that we shouldn't cause unnecessary misunderstandings." The white-eyed wolf shook his head and said it very tactfully. But as long as one wasn't a fool, they would be able to understand the meaning behind his words. Dong Laifu and Dong Qingyuan looked at each other. Dong Qingyuan smiled and said, "What the old man said makes sense. Let's return to Mount Supreme later." "All right." Dong Laifu nodded. The white-eyed wolf said again, "However, we welcome the two of you as guests." "It's an honor." Dong Qingyuan laughed. Next, the few of them began to chat. Although they were just chatting, basically every topic was to get information from Qin Feiyang and the others. Of course, Qin Feiyang and the others were not stupid, and they answered fluently. They chatted until noon, but the two of them didn't gain anything at all. Originally, Qin Feiyang and the others wanted the two of them to stay for a meal, but the two of them insisted on going back to Mount Supreme with the excuse that they were busy with work. Qin Feiyang and the others did not force him to stay, because asking them to stay was just a formality. Mount Supreme. In the main hall, Dong Qingyuan, who was sitting in the chair above, looked at Dong Laifu and said, "This group of people is not simple." "Yes. All of them are unfathomable." Dong Laifu nodded. "The most important thing is that we haven't even figured out their strength after half a day." Dong Qingyuan shook his head, looking rather annoyed. Dong Laifu's eyes flickered as he suddenly thought of a plan. He looked at Dong Qingyuan and said, "Why don't I test them?" "No. If you do that, they will be disgusted." Dong Qingyuan hurriedly waved his hand and said in a deep voice, "Right now, our central dynasty needs these two young people, Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. We can't offend them." "Don't worry, I have a brilliant plan." Dong Laifu smiled. "Tell me about it." Dong Qingyuan was immediately curious. At the same time, Qingyang Mountain. The white-eyed wolf sneered, "These two old things actually want to stay here? That's too whimsical. Actually, I think we can let them stay." The mermaid princess pondered. "Why?" Qin Feiyang and the other two were suspicious. "They're staying because they want to get close to us and investigate our strength. But we can also take the opportunity to monitor them. Think about it, if they really stay here, then they'll be right under our noses. If they do anything in the future, won't it be easier for us to know?" The mermaid princess said. "Indeed." Qin Feiyang nodded and then said with a smile, "But you've neglected a problem. If they stay, then we'll have to play along with them all the time. Not only will it be very tiring, but you won't be able to fuse ultimate intents." "Yes. The most important thing right now is to quickly grasp the will of the heavenly Tao so that you won't drag us down in the future." The white-eyed wolf nodded. "Who's dragging you down?" Fire Dance glared at him, and the white-eyed wolf immediately began to smile apologetically. There was a trace of mockery in the mad scientist's eyes as he secretly mocked, "Brother Wolf, if you're so afraid of her now, then won't you have any status in the family after you get married?" Scram! The white-eyed wolf glared at the mad scientist and snorted, "If she dares to be arrogant after we get married, I'll teach her a lesson." "Is that so? Then I'll wait and see. Don't come to me and old Sheen every day to complain." The mad scientist snickered. "Don't worry about it. Think about your status in the family in the future. How dare you talk about me? Wasn't he the same as well? If you have the ability, teach Zhuo Shaoxian a lesson and let me see. Do you have the guts?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and continued, "As for their future actions, as long as the inner demons and big cousin can obtain their trust, then everything can be solved." The mad scientist said, "After this meeting, they'll probably let down their guard against the inner demons and Lu Jiejin. It should still take some time." Qin Feiyang guessed. The mermaid princess pondered for a moment and asked, "Then do we continue to act?" "Of course. Dong Qingyuan already knows of our existence. He might suddenly come at any time. You guys go into seclusion first. Come out if something happens." Qin Feiyang said. "Okay." The three women nodded and turned back into the house. They silently swore in their hearts that they would never become a burden to these stinky men. There was also a time array here, so they didn't have to go into seclusion in the Black Tortoise world. Late at night, Qin Feiyang and the other two were lying on the rattan chair, admiring the moonlight. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying aura appeared. Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. They quickly got up and looked up. They saw a blood-red figure descending from the sky. It was like a demon god standing on a sea of blood. "Who is it?" Qin Feiyang shouted. This person's aura was very unfamiliar, and he was wearing a mask on his face. They could only roughly tell that he should be a middle-aged man from his figure. "Are you the family of Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng?" The middle-aged man in blood-red clothes spoke. Even his voice was filled with a bloody aura. "What Lu Yuntian? What Lu Yunfeng? I don't know what you're talking about," Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "Huh, still don't admit it? We used the omniscient eye and saw Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng come here to find you. We also heard your conversation." The blood-red figure laughed. "Omniscient eye?" Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. What was going on? In this world, only Mu Qing had the omniscient eye, and Mu Qing was now in the Black Tortoise world. "Who exactly are you? What's your purpose here?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Me? When you go to hell and ask King Yama, you will know who I am." The blood-red figure laughed. With a wave of his hand, the power of law emerged. In just an instant, the ultimate profound of the 8 strongest laws appeared. The will of heaven erupted. "You're courting death," the white-eyed wolf shouted. Qin Feiyang said, "Don't be impulsive. There's something wrong here. Don't expose our identities. This is really annoying." The white-eyed wolf was annoyed. If he could go all out, even if the other party had the ultimate profound of the 8 strongest laws, he would be nothing in front of him. Because as long as he activated his battle soul, he would be invincible. But now, since he couldn't activate his battle soul, his strongest means were the ultimate profound of the 6 strongest laws. With 6 ultimate profound, it was impossible to be a match for the other party's 8 ultimate profound. If one person can't beat him, then let's go together. Madman transmitted his voice. Together? This is a bit embarrassing. The white-eyed wolf was stunned. When Qin Feiyang and Madman heard this, they couldn't help but roll their eyes. What's so embarrassing about this kind of thing? Besides, you white-eyed wolf, do you look like someone who would be embarrassed? The most shameless person is you. Boom! The next moment, Madman and Qin Feiyang stepped into the air. Bullying with numbers seems not bad. Sure enough, the white-eyed wolf grinned and rushed faster than Qin Feiyang and Madman. The mermaid princess and the other two also ran out of the house and looked at the middle-aged man in blood-red clothes in surprise. Who is this person? Suddenly, Fire Dance quivered and hurriedly shouted, "You guys go to the Star River, otherwise Qingyang Mountain will be destroyed." It didn't matter if Qingyang Mountain was destroyed. But the beasts in Qingyang Mountain were all beasts of the Black Tortoise world, and they must not be implicated. Go to the Star River. Qin Feiyang stared at the middle-aged man in blood-red clothes and said in a deep voice, "Who will go to the Star River with you? Tonight, not only will I kill you, but I will also destroy your nest." The middle-aged man in blood-red clothes grinned. "Bastard. You go down and protect Xinjiang Mountain." The white-eyed wolf flew into a rage and looked at Madman. "Why don't you go?" Madman secretly said angrily. The white-eyed wolf said, "Now I am your father, you have to listen to me." "You bastard." Madman cursed and landed in front of the mermaid princess and the other two. The power of law emerged, and along with the eruption of the will of heaven, it condensed into a huge barrier that quickly enveloped the entire Qingyang Mountain. Will of heaven. The middle-aged man's pupils shrank. It was indeed not simple. No matter who you are, don't even think about leaving here alive today. The white-eyed wolf stared at the middle-aged man in blood-red clothes and roared. The will of heavens, will of heavens, will of heavens will covered heaven and earth. There is also the will of heavens, will of heaven. The middle-aged man in blood-red clothes was shocked again and immediately looked at Qin Feiyang. Boom! Then, Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the ultimate mysteries of the 6 ultimate laws appeared above his head. However, only one layer of the will of heavens will had been activated. Even so, the middle-aged man in blood-red clothes couldn't help but feel a storm in his heart. They both controlled the will of heavens, will of heaven. In the blink of an eye, boom! Accompanied by a loud explosion, the 12 ultimate laws of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf collided with the 8 ultimate laws of the middle-aged man in blood-red clothes. The destructive aura swept out in all directions like a tide. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.